All right, we should be all set. Just gotta finish setting everything up. For some reason, every time I have to manually set a lot of things. Okay, we should be good to go. All right, let us get started. Howdy, howdy. I'm doing a-okay. I got a new mic. It's a lav mic setup. So I used it for my most recent video, and I hope that the audio was okay. You can watch live videos while working in the lab. Just you can actually watch TikTok lives while your phone is off. So, like, your phone screen is off. So just put in headphones, put it in your pocket, and you can listen. Audio sounded great. That's good to hear. All right. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody. Oh, I should add myself to the scene. Oh. What's tone policing? When you say, I don't disagree, but you're being mean. That's tone policing. And it's kind of annoying, hence why I'm not interested in you doing it. I look the part. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but okay, I appreciate that. Dino, how's it going?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Are you MAGA?
No, I wanted to ask a question for you directly and for other physicists like you.
It's not the time or place. Well, it is the place, just not the time. Pretty sure most she himself swing the other way, which is 100% against science. What's 100% against science now? Are you in grad school? No, I finished my PhD a few years ago. Don't think they are anti-science. I think they've been conditioned to believe science is subjective. Well, there might be a reason why they're anti-science, but they still are anti-science, right? What science? Like, basically all of it. Derek, how's it going?
Good, man. I get your sentiment, and I want to agree. Like, it's not. They pick and choose the science that they want to use. It's not that they're anti-science. They just hear something that sounds scientific and regurgitate it because they're morons.
Well, to be clear, that's not the case. Like, we can actually check by polling data how much they trust scientists, for example, how much they believe various scientific consensuses, and they significantly are less likely to believe these things or trust scientists than the rest of the population. But putting that aside, because you agree, I gotta let you go. But thanks for being here, Derek. All right, let's bring on Rapid Torrent. Rapid Torrent, how's it going?
Hey man, it's going good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Are you MAGA?
I am. I'd like to start by immediately addressing one of the points you raised with the last person. You said that you can.
Hold on, before we get into it, can I ask you 3 simple questions? I'm just collecting data. So is that okay?
Yeah.
And you can answer yes, no, or unsure, and then we can get into the details later. But the first question is, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that the vaccines we administer to young children are generally safe and effective?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, wait, non-human?
Non-human, yeah. Like other great apes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to start by raising the point you raised at the end there with the last guy. You said you could pull up the statistics to prove that it's anti-science, except your statement MAGA is anti-science is a generalization, because even
Yes,
if
it
your
is.
statistics show that 70% of them don't agree with common science, it's still a very straightforward generalization.
Yeah, it is a generalization. So would you say that liberals are pro-choice?
I would say the majority of liberals are pro-choice.
Okay, so when I say that liberals are pro-choice, I recognize that this is a general statement, and it's not necessarily applying to every single individual in the group. Similarly, I'm sure that there are MAGA people who are not anti-science, but as a whole, as a group, it is a valid generalization.
What do you mean by valid generalization?
As in, it is an accurate assessment to say that this population as a group is anti-science. That doesn't mean that there aren't individuals in the group who are not, but the population as a whole is.
Okay, cool. So what do you want to talk about then? What are some points that you think MAGAs disagree with?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's kind of two prongs, right? There's the MAGA politicians and there's the MAGA base. We could look at either, but if we start with the politicians, it seems pretty evident to me that given the policy decisions that have been put forward in the last, 8 months or so by the Trump administration, we can see anti-science sentiment in the budget proposals, right? I mean, all you have to do is look at things like the proposed budget for NASA, the proposed budget for the National Science Foundation, the proposed budget for the CDC, for the NIH. If it were just a case of one scientific institution having its budget be proposed to be slashed, that'd be one thing, but it's like all of the scientific institutions. And it should definitely make you think, why is it that funding is being decreased for all of the scientific institutions or for all of the research directorates there?
I would definitely ask the why as well, because I'm not immediately familiar with these budget cuts that you're mentioning, but surely there is a aforementioned why as to why they're doing it. Do they have something listed?
Not really, at least nothing specific. They say, oh, we're trying to, do gold standard science. Or,
okay, and what do you believe the purpose of those cuts are for?
I mean, it's pretty evident. They just don't care about science. They don't value it. And if you don't value something, why would you fund it?
So you do realize that the Trump administration exists to support Trump, right? And his legislative decisions and his ideologies, things like that. Right?
Yeah, this is Trump, or at least his administration's call.
Right. So if it is the general follow through of one man's thoughts and ideologies and legislation, then it's hard to say, because has every Republican Party over every 4-year candidate that has become president done the same thing?
No, I'm specifically talking about MAGA, which is Trump's movement.
When you say MAGA, you're referencing Trump-specific supporters.
I'm representing Trump's movement.
Okay. So this is the second time we all know that Trump has been elected in president. How does this compare to his educational decisions in his last term?
Oh, it's so much worse now.
It's worse. Why do you think that is?
Because he has more sycophants behind him. In the first administration, he had fewer people, or he had more kind of, I don't want to say educated, but more qualified people in his cabinet, more qualified people in his administration. And then they didn't do, or they didn't agree with what he wanted, so he ended up firing a bunch and swapping them out. This time he didn't make that mistake.
I remember he fired a lot of people when he first took office again. I remember that.
But I'm talking about his cabinet and his administration in general.
Okay. See, here's the thing with me. Like, I am a MAGA supporter, not to a full-blown extremism degree that a lot of others have certainly shown. And I'm also the kind of person that if you present a case to me that makes sense, I can see it logically and think it through. And if you can do that for a statement like you've done right now, then I don't have my walls up to rebuke that just because I disagree. If you can provide a logical reason for why you believe that, I can follow through with that on you. So do you have any other major points that you would feel I would need to be made aware about in order to understand why you support this feeling on this topic?
Well, I mean, like we can go into a little bit more detail about the budget cuts. We could also talk about data about the MAGA base or the Republican base in general. Regarding the budget cuts, what's interesting is, so typically when I bring this up, that these budgets, the proposed 2026 budgets are being slashed, people say, oh, well, we're in a lot of debt. And so that would be a fine response if it were the case that budgets were being slashed across the board. But in fact, NASA's total budget is not actually being cut that much. It's being cut like 20%. But if you go and look at the breakdown of how, oh, where'd it go? Welcome back. If you go and look at the breakdown as to how NASA's budget is being cut, what you'll find is that the exploration, there are basically two major segments of NASA's budget. There's the exploration segment and then the science segment. And then there's a bunch of smaller segments that like make up a small fraction. But if you look at the exploration segment, it's actually increasing. However, the science budget is being cut in half. So NASA's budget as a whole is only going down a little bit. It's just the science part that's being basically destroyed. Similarly, if you look at the DoD budget, what you'll find is that the DoD budget's actually going up, except if you look for the research and development or the scientific research and development chunks of the DoD budget, those are getting cut. So what you'll find is that even in non-scientific organizations, the parts of the budget that are being cut and the parts of the budget that are being increased, well, they don't have any problem increasing the budget for some of the organizations, but if it's a scientific part of an organization, they're cutting it. And that definitely screams, well, they're not interested in just cutting the budget because they're happy to increase the budget, and they're cutting scientific organizations and scientific research across the board. So that should at least make you think that, yeah, maybe there's a reason why they're cutting these things specifically. And of course, they haven't really given explanations for these, especially for the specific details of why this thing was cut, why that thing was cut, and so on, because it makes them look bad. Now, we could also look at the MAGA base, or the Republican base, which is like 90% MAGA. And what you'll find is that, sorry, go ahead.
So I do agree that the current legislation supports Trump's ideology that strength comes from a strong arm, very militaristic. Like you said, he increased DoD spending. And he did that back when I was in high school in his first term as well. And I was familiar with how this enacted because I joined into the Marine Corps between that time, and I saw the effects of those budget increases firsthand. I believe that the Democratic Party is a party that believes supremacy comes from science-based and technological advances over other countries. And the Trump legislation right now supports, global authority through the eyes of strong arming other individuals physically through military dominance and through forced control of trade and tariffs, things like that. So I think I can agree with you at this point. However, I would change that most MAGA is anti-science, or I'd make it clear that that is a projection of a specific population within that demographic of Republican supporters, because the way you have it right now, it's just kind of, you've written it out in a way that antagonizes the entire party. And you don't get
That's intentional
specifics right away.
Well, I mean, look, like as an ideology, it is anti-science, right? And we can see that in the base. We can see that in the administration. Like that is just the case. Now, there might be some people who identify with that ideology, who fight through the cognitive dissonance and maintain their pro-science views.
Oh, 100%.
But that's not the claim. The claim is that the ideology itself is, and we can see that in the actions of the people enacting it.
I agree 100%, and I'm a little disaliened with that population of the Republicans because I moved out here from the Rocky Mountains of Montana, where it is very, very, very much right-wing, and I went from there and I came to just a mile south of Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is very much the opposite. And you speak about people shutting off their cognitive reasoning in certain Republican parties, and I don't know. I'm gonna head out because I got something else to do, but I enjoyed speaking with you.
All right, fair enough, Rapid. Take care. This time from YouTube. Will, how's it going?
I am well, and yourself?
I'm doing all right. Are you MAGA?
I am.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask a few questions just for some data I'm taking?
Sure, go ahead.
Right. So, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
Not the main, but do have cause in it, sure. But
So,
I
would you
think we
say
would
yes,
disagree on
no,
why.
unsure?
Well, because you said main, I would say no. If you
Okay.
didn't use the word main, if you rephrased it to say do like humans, assist in climate change, I would say yes.
Okay. Do you think that the vaccines that we typically administer to like babies and small children are generally safe and effective?
Um, no,
Okay.
I'd say no.
And do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
No.
Okay. Appreciate you doing that. Right. So you said you're MAGA. Would you say that MAGA is anti-science, pro-science, or neutral? Somewhere between.
I would say they're pro-science.
Okay. Why do you think so?
Well, I'll give you an example, Operation Warp Speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That
Now,
brought on a vaccine,
would you say
right?
that, well, so right, so we can talk about Operation Warp Speed. Would you say that generally MAGA likes the COVID vaccine or does not like the COVID vaccine?
Well, I mean, regardless of how MAGA feels about it now, uh, uh, the point is, though, is that the leader of MAGA, Donald Trump, and at the time, MAGA liked the vaccine. I
Right,
mean,
so I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about 5 years ago. I'm not talking about 6 years ago.
well, I mean,
think that MAGA is a developing thing.
we know. Well, hindsight, we know that the vaccine's not very safe, right? I mean, myocarditis is showing up in kids now. That's linked to the virus.
Well, to be clear, we don't know
Many
that.
countries,
That's not what
many
the scientific
countries have
data
pulled
says. But
it is, though.
that's
You
neither
can
here nor
Google
there.
it. You could Google it.
I've
You
looked into this
Google
myself.
it.
I've looked into this myself. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
so you could simply Google it. It's agreed upon by everybody that myocarditis in kids, or boys specifically, is occurring.
So what is true is the vaccine can cause.
And on top of that,
Will,
one sec.
Will,
Hold on,
one
if
sec.
I could. Oh, go ahead.
Just to
go
clarify.
ahead, go ahead.
So it is true that the vaccine can cause myocarditis. That's true. However, COVID has about a 100 times increased chance of causing myocarditis.
Right, but here's the thing, though.
And
So
children
would
can
you
get the
recommend?
myocarditis from COVID, right?
Well, hold on. Do they recommend, though, that kids take the vaccine now?
Are you talking about medical practitioners or are you talking about
The
politicians?
COVID vaccine. I'm saying, have multiple countries now pulled recommendations that kids under, I think, 25 take the vaccine?
You'd have to give me data on that. It's possible.
You
But-
could just simply Google it. You could just simply Google it.
Right. So I mean,
So,
like, I could
so
Google it. Do you
multiple
know the answer?
multiple countries. Not only that, the CDC has pulled recommendations for kids taking it also.
Right. So would you say that the
You're aware
CDC
of
is a
that also,
trustworthy?
though.
Would you
You're
say that
aware
the
of that.
CDC is a trustworthy source?
It can be, sure.
Wait a minute. When?
But
When is
at
it
the time,
trustworthy?
hold on. We're talking about skepticism against Operation Warp Speed now, though. So you said you didn't care at the time it was
Well,
supported by
no.
MAGA.
What I'm
Now
saying
MAGA's
is that
against it.
MAGA now
but
is significantly
obviously
more
Operation.
anti-science than
But
they
hold
were
on,
5
hold on.
years
So,
ago. Will, you have to let me talk. This has to be a
no,
back and forth.
because MAGA. Okay.
So it is the
Go ahead.
case that MAGA was more pro-COVID vaccine 5 years ago than it is now. Now it is significantly against it, right?
Correct. Yeah. Well, not significantly.
Despite-
I wouldn't say
despite-
significantly.
I mean, so, and this is anecdotally.
We
Actually,
just
I
tell
could pull you
tell
data for
kids
that if
not
you
to
want.
take it. We just tell kids not to take it now. We still
So,
recommend that
I could pull
adults
data
over
on
the
that
age of
if you want.
65 take it.
You want?
You could pull all you
me to pull
want, and
data
you're
on
going to
that,
find
on
that
how,
we
on
don't
how much
recommend.
MAGA trusts the COVID vaccine? Because it's really, really low.
Well, I don't trust it. Correct. I don't like the idea.
Despite it-
I don't like
des-
the idea
despite
of
it
changing like
doing-
my DNA.
Despite it doing what we wanted it to do, despite it reducing harm.
Well, but
or
we know
COVID
now our immune
injuries.
system. Our immune system, though, for most age groups under like 45, I believe, our immune system was just as good. We know this now. We didn't know it then, but we know it now, that herd immunity works, that our immune system could have fought it off just fine. We know now that most people who died from COVID had comorbidities, right? Do you know that?
Sure, that's most people who die from the flu also have comorbidities.
so-
That doesn't mean that the
so
flu didn't
why
kill them,
would-
Will.
why
That
would
doesn't mean
some-
that COVID didn't kill them.
Okay, but why would a perfectly healthy person who's 25 years old take it if it does absolutely nothing for them?
It does reduce the risk of hospitalization by a significant amount and reduce the risk of serious
Right,
disease
but
by a
didn't they
significant
tell us
amount.
at the beginning? Didn't Rochelle Wazinski?
This
the
is
head of
exactly what I mean, by the way.
CDC,
Like, I
and
can provide you
Anthony-
data
hold on.
that is consistent with
Didn't
everything that
they
I'm
say
saying,
at the
but you won't
beginning-
believe me, will you?
Well, hold on. But didn't they say the vaccine in the beginning prevented you from getting COVID?
I don't actually think that they did. Can you find me a quote
Yeah,
from
they
somebody who said
definitely
that?
did.
Who? Who said
Yeah,
that?
Rochelle Walensky. Was it Rochelle?
spell her name?
What is it? You don't know who Rochelle Walensky is?
No, I've never
She was
heard
head
of
of
her.
the CDC during this. Really?
I'm sorry.
ROCHELLE space
Yeah, how do you spell her last name?
WALEN.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Will,
COVID
vaccine prevents you from getting it.
Bro, you didn't
saying
even
that-
you
to
didn't
be
even
clear,
know who
Will, you're telling me that there's a
Rochelle
quote here?
Walensky was.
You're telling me that she explicitly said this early on?
Yeah, you could go. She went in front of a committee under oath and said
So,
that
when
if
was
you
this?
take the vaccine, you will not.
When was this? Do you remember?
This was like 2020, real early 2020. Fauci
Okay,
did the same
let's
thing.
find it. Let's find it, because I can.
Hold on, but
I would
you
bet
acknowledge that
money
you
that
didn't.
that's not the case.
Hold
No,
on,
because
can I say
I've
something?
looked into this, and every time anybody says quote, anytime anybody says there was some scientist who said, some important scientist who said, you can't get the vaccine if you get this.
Yeah, but you didn't even know who Rochelle Walensky was 5 seconds ago.
That's fine. And by the
She
way,
was head of
so
CDC.
Will, one sec. When did she say this?
Hold on. Will you acknowledge that that's kind of important that you didn't even know who Rochelle
No, it's not.
Walensky
It's not
was?
really, not for the topic here. Just to be
It's
clear,
not?
do you
Okay.
think that? No, it's not. Do you think that? When did this happen? Just so then I can find it.
Early 2020, late 2019, early 2020.
There was no vaccine
Or
early
I'm
2020.
sorry. Late 2020, early 2021.
Okay,
Once
so
Biden came into
right.
office,
So this
that's
is
when
Rochelle
all gloves
Walensky.
are off.
Testimony. You can't get the vaccine. Can you find me a quote for this?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, yeah, please do. Fact check. Merged clips of CDC
Yeah, sure.
Director Rochelle
So
Walensky
CNN,
discuss vaccine protection from
hold on,
severe
CNN.
COVID-19 are missing
Hold on.
context.
Can I talk? So you're going to ask me to get
I
it,
was,
and then you're just
I was
gonna
starting.
not let me
I
talk?
was in the middle of a sentence. Yeah, go ahead. I assumed that you
So
were still looking for
you
it.
could go to CNN.com, fact check
Mhm.
4 times Walensky comments were
Yep.
out of step with CDC
Look,
guidance.
I'm looking at it
She
right
went
now.
on CNN.
Yep.
She went on CNN and said it.
Okay, so wait, what did she say? I'm looking at this right now. I'm not seeing
She
anywhere
said
that it
if
says
you take
that.
the vaccine, her and
Right,
Anthony
I'm looking at it
Fauci,
right now. What's the quote?
who Anthony Fauci, who prevented
Wait,
the
hold on. We're
HIV
talking about
virus
Walensky
from
right
being
now.
dispersed.
What's the quote?
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
be
but
honest.
Anthony Fauci also
Honest and
said,
linear. Anthony Fauci didn't say those
Okay.
things either.
yeah, he
Honest
did.
and linear,
He
where's the
prevented
quote?
the HIV vaccine from going out in the 90s.
Honest and linear. Where's the quote from Walensky?
You said you had it brought up on CNN. I'm not watching
Right,
your live
and
stream.
I'm not
Are
seeing
you
it.
Are you?
Wait, you pulled it up, didn't you?
Yeah, but I can't share it.
No, but you can read it.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, what's the quote?
So she said, data, here's one. Data have emerged again that even if you were to get infected during post-vaccination, that you can't give it to anyone else. That was
Mhm.
false, because you could still spread it.
So was she lying when
she
she said
said-
data has emerged that demonstrate that even if you were to get infected during post-vaccination that you can't give it to anyone else? Was she lying?
Bro, you just said 5 seconds ago she didn't say this, and now I'm
No,
showing you that she did
to be
say
clear-
this, and now
to
you're
be
going to be
clear,
like, well, did
Will,
she have data?
Don't lie.
Oh, so
Don't-
she just
Will, don't
qualifies it
lie.
with I have data.
Will, don't lie. You said that she said that you can't get it.
Yeah, that was just one. I'm
Okay,
scrolling
so
through this
did
article.
she say that? Did
This
she
is
ever
a
say that
very
you can't
long
get it?
article.
This is
Yes.
like 3 pages long. Okay, find me the quote.
Yeah. Well, that direct quote from her testimony, right, may not be in this CNN article. Okay. But
So
but
then
just
find me the
because
quote.
you didn't even know who she was 5 seconds ago doesn't mean that the quote in her
You
testimony does
poisoning
not
the well
exist.
isn't making you look any better when you lie.
It isn't me poisoning the well. You're actually going to different wells to find one well that works
Wait,
for your story.
I'm sorry. I was asking
You
for
didn't
evidence
even
of
know
the claim
who-
that you made.
Hold on.
Will.
Yeah,
do
and
you
I just
have
gave it
evidence
to
for
you.
the
You said
claim
you're
that-
looking at the CNN.
I'm sorry.
You
That
said
wasn't
you're
the
looking
claim
at
that
the
you
CNN
made.
article, right?
The claim that you made was that she said that once you get the vaccine, you cannot get the disease. Now, is it the case that she said that? If not, why would you lie about that?
I didn't lie about it. I just
okay.
said
So then clearly
that
she must
can.
have said it, right? So then where's the quote?
She did say it.
Well,
She
okay,
did
where's the
say
quote?
it.
Find me the quote, please.
Wait. 5 seconds ago, you didn't even know who this lady was, right?
Sure,
And now
and-
you're sitting here telling me that I'm a liar? You're
When
gonna
did I ever
call
say that I
call
knew
me
who
a
she
liar?
was?
Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry, Will. When
You're
did I
on
ever
here
say that I
saying
knew who she
you're
was?
saying hold on.
I'm pretty sure I was
You're
pretty honest.
saying-
I explicitly said I have no idea who that is, actually.
Yeah.
So when did I
You're
lie?
gonna sit here
Rather,
and tell me,
you
hold on,
said
can I-
that she
can I say
said that
something?
once you
I
get the
didn't say
vaccine, you
lied. I
can't
didn't
get
say you lied.
COVID.
Can I say something or no? Okay,
Did
let me
she
know
say
when I
that
can
or
talk.
no?
Let me know when I can talk.
Did she say if you get the vaccine, you can't get COVID?
Yes, and so did
Okay.
Anthony Fauci.
Find me the quote then.
So can I talk now? So
Until
can I
you find
talk
me the
now?
quote, we're not really going to get anywhere. So why not,
Sure.
instead
So
of
did you
rambling, instead of trying
did
to
you
cover your ass, just find me the
did you
quote.
simply Google? Well, it's in that article.
It's not. I've scanned through it.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'll get you there. If you take vaccine, you won't get. Actually, if you take vaccine, it prevents COVID. Merged clips of CDC Director Rochelle Walensky, who you had no idea is, discussions over vaccination.
Keep reading. I'm sorry. Keep reading the headline of that Reuters article. Merged clips
Well,
of
it's
CDC
then it goes
Director
to
Rochelle
dot. Then it goes
Walensky
to
discussing
dot.
vaccine protection from severe
It goes to
COVID-19
dot,
are missing
dot.
context.
Yeah, are missing context.
Yeah. So if you cut out the middle of a sentence or the beginning of a sentence, like.
Are you saying that the
Could that be
CDC
lying?
didn't say at one? Hold on. Are you saying that the CDC didn't at one point in time? I don't know if they still do, but at one point in time say if you get the vaccine, you will not get COVID.
I don't think that they
you-
ever
are
said
you
that.
saying
If you
that
have
they did-
evidence of them having said that, I'd love to hear it.
Wow, bro. Wow. Why are we even talking about COVID? You obviously have
Incredulity
no
is
idea about COVID. Let's
fascinating.
move on.
Your incredulity is
move on from
fascinating, but
COVID.
yes, let's move on from the topic you just got destroyed
because
on that
if
I
you
didn't
didn't
know
even
anything
know,
about.
no. If
And
you
that-
didn't
Will,
even know
that's
who
what makes it
Rochelle
so-
Walensky is,
You're right,
if
and
you
that's what
didn't
makes
know
it
who
so much
she
more
is-
embarrassing for you. Will. That's what makes it so much more embarrassing for you, Will, because despite not knowing who
you
she
didn't
was,
even know
you
who
still
Rochelle
got destroyed
Walensky
on
is.
it because you just straight up
Yeah, but
lied,
you-
and I have a reasonable sense of what
no.
actually happened in the world.
You didn't, doctor, you didn't destroy anything. Okay.
We will
You
let
didn't
the
even know
we
who
will let
that
the people
lady
decide.
was.
Anyway, if you want to
You
change
go
topics,
on
by
here-
all means.
listen,
It sounds
you
like
go
you're
on
trying to pivot,
YouTube.
though.
You go on YouTube and tell people that the COVID vaccine is safe, and you didn't even know who Rochelle Walensky is.
To be clear,
Is the
I
COVID
never even
vaccine safe
said.
to take? Is
Will,
the
wait a minute.
COVID
Why are you
vaccine
lying
safe
again?
to take?
I never even said
Is
the
the COVID
COVID
vaccine safe
vaccine
to
is
take?
safe. I never even said that. Why are you lying again?
Is it safe?
Why are you putting words
Is
in my
it
mouth?
safe?
Generally, yes.
Well, because you asked me if vaccines are safe, and you
Well,
were
I
going to
asked-
call me
I
a
was-
science denier,
So I
right?
asked you
if
the-
I said no vaccines.
Specifically, I was referring. I specifically asked about the vaccines that we typically administer to children and infants. I wasn't. I
And
was
do we
not
do
asking about
COVID now?
COVID.
Do we do the COVID vaccine now?
I don't think that we typically administer those to children and infants as like part
They
of their
recommend
vaccine
you
regimen.
get it every
No.
year, don't they?
Hmm?
They recommend it as part of the flu vaccine, do they not?
So when I asked you that question, did you interpret that to mean COVID? Because I can clarify the question.
Yes.
I meant things like
Yes.
MMR.
Yes.
I meant that. Okay, so I meant vaccinations
Oh,
like
you want
MMR and
Go
the
ahead.
other standard vaccinations that have existed for the last
The
30
vaccines
years.
that you pick and choose. So
No, I'm
does
talking about
MAGA
I'm
trust
talking about the ones
vaccines
that
you
are
pick and
typically
choose?
administered to infants and children as a result of their lifetime immunization, like the MMR vaccine or
Oh,
like
so you
the
mean, so you mean
pertussis
using-
vaccine.
You mean So you mean using the definition of vaccine prior to them changing the definition to fit the COVID vaccine? Because you know CDC did that, right?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Or did you not know that either?
Can you repeat that?
Did you know
Sorry,
that
I
the
was talking to my wife.
CDC, did you know that during CDC or during COVID, the CDC changed the definition of vaccine so that the COVID vaccine fit into
Yes,
the
I've
definition of vaccine?
I've heard this claim here. Now, do you want to answer the question that I asked from a while ago?
Wait, you've heard that claim. That's
Yep.
true, though. You understand that's true, right?
So
Right?
I understand that the
said yes?
wording was changed. I don't think the definition was meaningfully changed.
So what
But
you're
Will,
asking me
Will,
then,
hey,
so then
Will,
actually,
Will,
Dr. Blitz,
Will,
if I
shut
can
up,
refer,
shut up,
go
and
ahead.
you just got to answer the question, Will. You just got to answer the question. I was specifically referring to like
What
the
was the
standard vaccines that are offered to children and infants. These are like the things that you would have to like get signed off on to like go to elementary school when you were a kid, like MMR, the pertussis vaccine, these kinds of vaccines. That's what I was asking about. Do you think that those generally, all of that, do you think that all of the vaccines except COVID are generally safe and effective?
Oh, all except the COVID vaccine.
Yes,
the
because
COVID
people
vaccine
are-
is required in schools in California, New
So
York.
Will,
certain states
the reason I'm
require
asking about that is because I understand that the COVID vaccine is very controversial, which is why I was asking about less controversial vaccines. Do you think that those are safe or not?
Oh, I think the ones that fit the old definition of vaccine are generally safe. Yes, I do think that
Good.
I
I'll
do
take my
think
data.
I think that we have every right though to still be skeptical about it. And I don't like the fact that we force kids to do it as part of public education. I think parents should have more rights as to refuse them if they so choose. You know.
Okay, I guess.
But I do think if they fit the old description, then I think that's fine. But also more science that the Republican Party. So more science that
just to be clear,
the
Will,
Republican Party did was Apollo 11 with Nixon. So if you want to talk about
just a
Apollo 11
question.
with Nixon.
So just to circle back to kind of where we started. So you said that you think that MAGA is pro-science, and obviously I'm referring to MAGA today. I'm not referring to MAGA 5 years ago or the Republican Party from 50 years ago. I'm referring to MAGA as it is today. So and you said that MAGA today is pro-science. So can you give me an example of a pro-scientific view where they agree with the scientific consensus that the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, agrees with?
What? Can you ask that again?
Yeah, so is there some feature, some scientific consensus that the MAGA party agrees with? Can you give me an example of that? Of something that's like even mildly go ahead.
Sure. I think MAGA agrees that it is unhealthy to put things up your behind.
Okay, and where's the scientific consensus agrees with that, you'd say?
Is it healthy to put things up your behind?
Can be. Have you heard of a?
It can.
Have you heard of
you said it can be?
Yeah. Have you heard of a suppository before?
Have
you heard of a suppository before?
Ramifications. Well, but that's not continuous. I'm talking about long-term, continuously putting things up your butt.
Enemas, colonoscopies.
Yeah, but do you go like daily for a colonoscopy?
Not necessarily. At least, I mean, unless you have like some serious disease, I guess. So Will, you made the
so
claim
is that typically though unhealthy though? Is that typically unhealthy though?
I don't actually think that there's any data saying it's healthy or unhealthy. I don't think that there's a scientific consensus on this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, do you have data?
I think there's a kind of scientific. I think there's a scientific. I mean, well, it's dirty. It's full of bacterias.
You're like vibing right now. Do you have like scientific evidence that supports this view that it's dangerous?
Yeah, you can just simply Google it. Yeah, you
wait
can
a minute. So
long-term. Sure. Studies show.
Studies show. I'm going to Google.
Long-term of like long-term consequence, if you will. I don't know, or side effect of homosexuality, of doing that act, leads to basically your rectum losing all muscle and you can no longer control. You basically have no longer control over that. You have to wear diapers, things along that line, because all of your muscles fail back there. We know this now because of hyperuse
So
of
just
that
to be clear,
and
this is the thing
P
you want me
word,
to Google.
the
Studies
P
show
industry.
long-term consequences of homosexuality leads to rectum losing all
Listen,
muscle.
you
and
asked
can no
for
longer
something.
control
You
your
asked for
diapers
something.
because
I'm
all of your
giving you
muscles
something.
fail.
If you're
Okay, so I'm
saying
gonna look this up.
that
I'm
you
looking this up.
disagree
Let's
that
find
if
it.
you disagree that it's unhealthy, then we can move on. But I guarantee you that you're going to find that it's
we're gonna look
unhealthy
this
to
up
do.
and see if the studies actually do say this.
Sure,
Let's look.
sure, okay.
How do you feel about AI overviews, or would you prefer an actual study?
I'd prefer an actual study.
Okay. Do you have an actual study offhand? Because I don't have an actual study
Even
offhand
even
for this.
AI overview.
But if you don't have an AI
here's
offhand,
what it
then
says for. Hold on, here's an AI overhand, and it
Mhm.
might be right. Let's see. It's at first I asked, does long-term A word, cause problems? So simply, does
so I already have the AI,
cause problems?
AI
Hold on,
overview pulled up.
I'll read it. Okay, it says no.
The claim
It
that
says no
homosexuality
is not
inevitably
inherently
leads
bad.
to, yeah, there you go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The claim that
Well, you didn't let me
homosexuality,
read it. You interrupted, so you go.
right, yeah. The claim that homosexuality inevitably leads to the rectum losing all muscle control and requiring diapers is false. This is a distortion of actual medical research regarding anal intercourse, a practice not limited to gay men, which carries some risks but does not cause complete muscle failure. The statement also uses homosexuality and anal sex interchangeably, which is inaccurate. So, I mean, make of that what you will. Now, you want to read yours?
Hold on. Yeah. So it says, but it carries risks that can be managed with proper precautions.
Mm-hmm.
But, right. Here, let me read Planned Parenthood answer to that. AS is perfectly healthy and safe in both long-term and short-term. Now, let me ask you something. Is it safe to put your P word into the A of someone, or does that come with disease?
According to Planned Parenthood, yeah. It is safe.
So, but you're a doctor. Hold on, you're a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is
not a medical doctor,
the bacterias and things
different kind of doctor?
Well, right, but you don't think that you've never once heard that that's unhealthy?
Well, I've heard it from bigots, but I've never actually seen any evidence that this is true.
You've heard it from bigots.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way for HIV to spread?
Generally through blood-to-blood contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is generally like heavily in that community for a reason, right? I'm not saying anything against that community. I'm just saying it's an unhealthy way to live your life.
You say blood-to-blood contact is heavily in that community for a reason. Why is blood-to-blood contact heavily in that community for a reason?
Well, because when you do that act, it causes tears and it causes damage. I know that you've never done any research into this either.
But
it does cause
I don't know
those
if you
things.
know, but I don't know if you know, but like normal intercourse can also cause tears and damage. Well, I guess you might not know that from personal experience because, well, I don't want to say.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't know who told you that, but that is like maybe one out of like 10 million men are so large that yes, that would occur.
Okay, that would explain it then.
And there's maybe
right,
1 out of 10 million. There's maybe 10 million or 1 out of 10 million women that just might be too small. I agree with you there. But generally speaking, when do they recommend in that community that you use protection for a reason, and why?
Generally, if you want to avoid STDs, you should use protection.
That's just infections of any sort, right?
That's just generally good advice.
No, you're right.
Wait, it's not good advice.
If you're going to do it, if you're going to do it there, if you're going to do it there, no. If you're going to do it there, you're right.
Just in general, Will.
But when a man and a woman do it daily, they don't have to wear protection. They're not going to each get infections if it's the same man and woman.
Will, if neither of them have STIs, then it doesn't matter whether you use protection. Nobody's going to get an infection because neither of them have STIs. The issue is
well,
that
the normal
STIs
straight way.
and doesn't
You're right.
know about
The
it.
normal straight way, correct.
No,
but
either way.
even
If nobody has STIs,
no.
if neither person has an STI, then nobody's going to get an infection.
Are you serious?
Where is
think
the
that you
infection
can
going to come
put-
from if nobody has the STI? Will, use your brain.
From poop. What's
Wait,
in your what's
to be
what's
clear-
in your behind?
To be clear,
What's in your behind?
well,
what's in
I
your
mean,
behind?
usually, I would imagine that you want to clean these things out. So, do you think that like when people like do it
Right,
up the
right.
butt,
But
that
hold on,
they're,
you
like,
acknowledge though. You acknowledge though. Hold on, you acknowledge that
just
would
to be
cause
clear,
an
do you think that when
infection,
people
though.
do it up the butt, there's just like poop everywhere? Like, is that what you think happens?
Are you saying that you can't get an infection from that?
You can get an infection from anything.
Can you be better? Can you be a bit better faith here, or can you get an infection from
Really,
that?
I can. You're asking me to be a bit better faith, and you've presented no actual no actual evidence for any of your arguments. It's just vibes.
Well, we're just using. I don't have to produce evidence.
You don't have
we
to
can
produce
just
evidence.
simply use logic.
The most
we could just simply
pro-scientific
use
MAGA,
logic.
everybody. I don't have to produce evidence, just use logic. No, the way that we do science
Right.
is we use evidence.
Well, hold on. Are you denying that though? Are you denying that that a man performing that act on another man can get an infection from that? It doesn't have to be an STI. He could get a bacterial infection from that.
I don't actually know
if they spend all day washing each other out.
I don't actually know if that's a significant risk.
You
Do
don't
have
know
evidence-
because you've
do you
never
have
done any
evidence supporting
research
that?
into it. That's why.
Sorry, have you done research into this?
Wait, hold on.
Have you done research into this, Will?
You need.
Will, have you done research
You're
into
a
this?
doctor. Yes, I have.
Okay, so
You
where's the
need-
study that
you
says
need-
that there's a significant risk
hold
of
on.
non-ST infection? Where's the risk? Where's the evidence?
Sure. Hold on. You don't understand that smearing poo all over you can cause infection.
Will, do you have
really
evidence
not know
that there's actually
Do
a
you not? Hold on.
significant
You
risk
don't know
here?
that? You don't know that? What
Okay, so
happens
this
if
is
you
what
get
this is
poo in
what I
your
mean by
bloodstream?
MAGA is
What
anti-science,
happens
by
if
the
you
way.
get poo in your bloodstream?
This is
Can you
a
answer
cool
that?
this
What
is
happens?
a cool unrelated conversation, but it seems like you're not actually interested in doing
No,
science.
you
here.
asked for an example. You asked
No,
for
no,
an
I asked
example.
for
I gave
evidence.
you one.
I asked
And
for
you're
evidence.
really dodging. Yeah, well, you don't
Wait, and
need
to be clear,
evidence
you've
if we
offered
can
no
simply use
evidence.
logic.
Okay,
Sure,
so,
okay,
so
sure, does-
that's my point. Everybody,
Sure,
we
sure,
just heard
sure.
that
Here, I will give
from
you-
Will.
If you
We
want
don't
it, if
need
you want,
evidence
if you want,
if you use logic,
If-
right? No, we
Right.
actually do need
Are you
evidence.
saying you
in
can't
order to
use
back up these
logic?
claims.
Are you
No,
saying
I'm
you
saying that
can't-
if you're
are you
going to
saying
make
you
an
can't use
empirical
logic?
claim, you should definitely provide evidence to support it.
or use logic, right?
No, you should provide evidence to support it if you're making
So
an empirical
hold on.
claim.
So hold on. So let me get this straight though. You need evidence to show you right now that smearing poo all over yourself can cause an infection. You need evidence of that, Dr. Blitz? What are you a doctor of? You
I
said
have a PhD
physics,
in
right?
physics. Now, to be
In
clear,
physics? Yeah.
nobody is
So hold
nobody
on.
is
Did you
doing that. Nobody's doing
What do you
that,
think
right?
happens? Hold on, Dr. Blitz. What do you think happens
Will.
when a man? What do you think can
Will.
happen when a man inserts himself into another man's behind? Can you answer that,
Generally,
Mr.
I mean,
Dr.
I'm not
Blitz?
like personally experienced.
Do they
with
get
it,
poo? Do they get poo?
But no, I think
but
that
think about
generally,
it for a second.
I think that
Think about
generally
it,
it's pretty
Dr.
clean
Blitz.
because most people clean themselves.
You think generally it's pretty clean?
Yeah, I mean, Will,
Really?
do you have evidence? Do you have evidence to the contrary, or are you just like raging
I
because
don't need
people
to-
because
do
people
I have-
having gay sex is like, or anal sex rather?
Well,
is
you're the
like
one who's
enraging
making.
to you.
You're the one who's making. Hold on. You're the one who's making the claim that they all clean themselves before they do the act.
No, I did say
Do you have
generally.
evidence that
to be clear,
shows?
I did say
Yeah.
generally.
Do you have evidence of that? Do you have
Yeah,
evidence
let's
of that?
find it. Let's find it. Yes.
Okay. Google if men generally clean themselves, because I think when they're at like nightclubs and bathhouses and stuff like that, they just open it wide up.
So studies
When
show,
they're in, like, parades, stuff like
studies
that.
show that a significant
Mm-hmm.
portion of men who have sex with men do use enemas or douches before anal sex, with frequencies in studies ranging from 52 to over 88%. So yeah, that's most of them.
But not all of them, right?
I never said all of them.
So the ones that don't do it. So the ones that don't do it, are they going to get infections?
The first law of MAGA, the first law of MAGA
can they
is
get
that every
infections
piece
or
of
not?
evidence
I'm
disagrees with their talking points.
Well, no, that evidence agrees
wait,
with
Will,
me.
have we
That
spoken
evidence
before?
agrees with me.
Have we spoken before, Will?
That evidence agrees
Will,
with me.
have we spoken before?
Dr. Blitz. No,
Will, have
Dr.
we spoken
Blitz,
before?
that evidence agrees with me. No, we haven't. Dr. Blitz.
Okay, just checking.
That evidence
so the
agrees with
claim
me,
was
though.
is
You
that
understand that,
generally
right?
most men do, and it's true. Generally, most men do.
No. I asked for evidence. Okay, but that claim still proves my point, though, that a large portion don't. And will those
Okay.
people who don't, if you don't clean it out, if two men don't clean it out beforehand, or 3, 4, whatever, can it cause infection? Can wiping poo, getting
Yes,
poo
generally,
inside your,
lots of things can cause infection. But if you're going to make the point that this is something
but
that's
if you get
dangerous, which is
poo,
what
if
you
you
claim,
get poo down your pee
Will,
hole,
you're
if
gonna
you
have
get
to,
poo
you're-
down your
Will,
pee hole,
Will, you're gonna have to
ahead.
let me finish the
ahead.
sentence. Your original
ahead.
claim
Go ahead.
is that it's dangerous for people to do it up the butt. Now, you haven't actually provided any
I said it's
evidence of that.
unhealthy. I didn't say dangerous.
Okay,
I said
fine.
unhealthy.
You're right. You said it's unhealthy, but you haven't provided any evidence of this, and yet you said that there is
You
scientific
just provided
consensus in
evidence.
favor of this.
You just provided
Will,
evidence
actually,
of it. You
the
just
statement
provided
about
evidence.
whether or not people clean themselves is actually unrelated. Well, it's perhaps related, but it's
Well,
not the
if
same
they
as the
don't,
statement.
that's pretty unhealthy,
Will,
though, right?
Do you not know
If
how
they
to...
don't- if they
okay, I have
don't-
to mute you. The statement that you made is that it's unhealthy for people to have anal sex. Now, that's a statement that you said is consistent with the scientific consensus. Now, I asked you for scientific evidence, scientific consensus that provides that claim, and you weren't able to provide it. Instead, you started to try to say things like, well, obviously, of course it is, because, you know, there's poop involved. And then when I showed you that most homosexual people who have anal sex actually do clean themselves, you said, oh, well, but some of them don't. Like, you haven't actually provided any evidence. You're just going based off of vibes. Also, apparently you have called before, and so now you're just being a liar. Will, do you have any final words before I let you go?
Well,
because I guess you're just lying to me about having not called before.
Yeah, I did not say the scientific consensus said this.
Oh,
I
no, you
said
did. You
MAGA
did.
agrees. No, I said MAGA agrees.
Okay, so then maybe you
point
just
was
answered me incorrectly,
MAGA
because my
agrees that
question
it's
is,
unhealthy.
Because my initial question was, can you give me an example of something that MAGA believes that is in agreement with the scientific consensus?
Well, that is in line with the scientific consensus.
Oh, is it? So show me the scientific studies that show the
It
scientific
is.
consensus.
Again, Dr. Blitz,
You're not going
are
to,
you
are
telling
you?
me that there's... hold on. Well, if you'd let me answer...
Are you
See,
going to
you
provide
always
me with
interrupt
evidence?
me.
Are you going to actually provide me with the scientific studies or
Hold
no?
on. You're asking for evidence that smearing poo all over you is bad.
No, literally nobody
You
does that. Well, I
understand
guess some
that?
people
You
do
understand?
that.
Hold on.
That's
Do you
like a
understand
fetish for
what
some
what
people.
evidence do you want? What evidence do you want?
I want a study showing that people who have anal sex are more likely to get infections or something like this. Something that can actually back up your claim rather than just intuition pumping.
So that it's infectious, is what you
Or
want.
causes disease, or it causes harm in some way, or it reduces your health in some way. Just any evidence that's not just intuition pumping.
Sure. So if you just simply Google, can
Sorry,
AS
I'm not going
lead
to keep doing your Googling for you. Do you have the evidence?
I Googled it.
Okay, what did you find? What's the scientific study?
Okay,
Give me the name of the scientific study.
So this is going to come out of medicalnewstoday.com, but
What's
this
the
is
name of the
AI's
scientific
overview.
study?
That's their source. Is AS safe? 6 potential risks to avoid. It says AI simple overview. Can AS lead to infection?
Okay.
Answer: yes. AS can increase the risk of infections, both ST
So where's the scientific
and
study?
bacterial.
Where's the scientific study?
Can I read? Can I keep
Wait,
reading?
are you reading from Medical News Today? Because that's not a scientific study.
No. I'm reading.
You're reading from the AI overview? Where's the scientific study?
I'm reading from source studies. Okay, this is an overview.
I don't want the overview. I want the study.
Oh my gosh, can I answer you? I'm gonna
You're
have
going
to
to
give
keep
me
giving me overviews. I want the study.
Listen, you didn't even let me finish answering. So this thing could agree with you.
Just
Can you give me a
study.
second to answer? Why do you keep interrupting? Why
just
must
give me
you
the study. It's so easy. If you have the
constantly
study, just
interrupt?
give me the study.
It's simple. I just said what I Google searched. Okay.
Okay.
The first article it pulls up
Yeah.
with the AI overview has your source in it.
Okay,
If
what's
you
the
don't want to
source?
fucking Google it, then let
What's
it
the
go.
source?
I'll read it.
What's the source?
Can I read it?
No, I just want you to tell me
Oh
what
my
the source
gosh,
is.
bro. You have 5 brain cells.
What's
Sure,
the
the
source?
source is the source is medicalnewstoday.com/articles/324637. If
sorry,
you bring it up, this is my source.
I pulled that up.
This is
Is
my
that a scientific
source.
study?
This
Is that a
is my
scientific
source.
Is that a scientific study?
It is
Will?
sourcing scientific studies, is it
Okay,
not?
so then give me the scientific study.
Oh my gosh, bro, you are so bad at this. Why can't
Look,
you hear?
I was
Let me read
asking
it,
a very
okay?
simple
Let me
question.
read
Where is the
AI
scientific
overview.
study? That's all
Do
I
you
want.
not accept? Do you hold on? Do you accept AI overview?
I think that generally AI overviews can be decent for pretty
Okay,
mainstream
then let
stuff.
me read AI overview. How about that? AI
Well,
overview is my
Will,
source
I
right here.
specifically asked for a study.
Hold on. Let me read AI overview, and then you could say if you disagree with it or not. Okay, how about that?
No, not how about that? Let's read some super. He just didn't know how to give a study, so it's just not worth continuing. Let's read some super chats, and then we'll bring on the next guest. From Fear's Interaction with the $10, thank you. Lol, this guy again. He calls into a bunch of shows with the most unwavering confidence in the most wrong ideas. Plus, he's an apex interrupter. Go Blitz. That's fair. From Cranky Old Cuber with the $5. This guy is insufferable and just wants to justify he thinks gay men specifically are icky. Yeah, right? Hi, Blitz. Hello to you, too. From Fear's Interaction with the $2 saying, also, he has called you before, so a liar too. Fair enough. I think this is MAGA scientist. He's an engineer from Captain with the $2. Yeah, I think you're right. Did my super chats not? They didn't pop up. From Fatal Error with the $2. Loving the scientific knockdowns. Keep it up, Fate. From Flash Perez with the $5. Yes, you've talked to this dude. He goes as the Protestant and is the one that insulted Justin's son. Oh, that's a shame. From Calendron with the $5. So I'd like to say the same thing I do when Jordan Peterson talks about global warming. Please stay in your lane. With love, heart, lol. Yeah, fair. I think, maybe, I don't know. I don't really know who that's addressed to. And then from Devil's PD with the $10. Thank you. Constantly casually dropping lines like two or three or four guys and at nightclubs and bathhouses and parades. Yep, super good faith, definitely not just bigotry. Of course it's bigotry. Of course it is. But we have to let them expose themselves. Let's bring up another guest. Life of Brian. Life of Brian, how's it going?
Hey there, how's it going? I apologize. I was trying to come up earlier when that dude was going off about poop.
Sorry, I only do 1v1s, but go ahead.
No worries. I'm going to drop down.
All right. Sounds good. Take care. All right. So currently, Will is in the guest box. He's not coming back up. And somebody who I don't think we will have a productive conversation on is also in the guest box. But if you are in YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube, or if you are watching on TikTok, and you think that MAGA is pro-science, or if you think that MAGA is not anti-science, feel free to join the guest box. There's a good conversation to be had. If you start in good faith, I will be in good faith. We got a $20 Cash App subscription from Robert. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. That's so generous. All right, we have somebody named John. Now, I suspect that John is just Will, but John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I put the source for you down in the chat. You want to bring it up?
That's Will. Like, chose the most generic, 40-year-old man name. I suspect this is Will again.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep.
Okay. He titled his name Coward this time. Yeah, he's unrelenting. Such is the name, such is the way of things. MAGA seems to be following science when it comes to vaccines. They don't, though. Vaccines do significantly reduce severe disease. They do significantly reduce hospitalizations. That's just true. But yeah, so currently the guest box is empty. And I think he's back with You're Not a Doctor. Hey, Will, how's it going?
I'm well, and yourself?
It's at least good entertainment. Why are MAGA tards so afraid of anal? We should hold on. So Lost Horizon, we shouldn't use slurs to make fun of MAGA. Wait, Will is covered in poo right now and desperately needs to know if he's in danger. That's funny. MAGA lover, can you hear me?
Stop. How's the day going, sir?
Yeah, that was suspicious. Blitz, destroy him again. Welcome back, Will.
Just don't hang up.
How's your engineering degree?
It's great. Science and everything. It's in science.
It's
Engineering
definitely
degrees are in science.
Yeah, it is the same guy. Yeah, so why would he lie to me? Why would he lie to me like that? He definitely is the same guy that said that he was a scientist that isn't a scientist and has an engineering degree. But oh, we have some guests on TikTok. Let's bring one of those up. It's in science, yeah. There you go. Y2K, how's it going?
What does MAGA being anti-science have to do with anything? Because what MAGA is not even about science. So
MAGA is a political ideology, and as part of its political ideology, it is anti-science.
yeah,
now,
like, who
just a
cares?
quick question. Y2K, are you MAGA?
I mean,
Did you vote
you
for
know,
Trump?
yeah. But,
Okay. Do you like what he's doing?
there's some things I disagree with. I don't really think we've ever had a perfect president. But I
Okay.
would definitely vote for him over Kamala Harris.
And you can't pronounce her name. That's on track. Right. So you would say that you're not MAGA, but you're a Trump voter. Sorry, I'm just collecting some data. Is that okay?
Well, you know, like, I voted for Trump,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't put MAGA as like a title.
Okay,
like that,
fine.
honestly.
That's fine.
I wouldn't
So-
say I don't support it, but I'm not gonna say I'm MAGA. Like, that's
Okay.
I don't do stuff like that.
So can I ask you just a few questions, just so I can collect some data, and then we can get into the conversation?
Sure.
So, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Do you think that the vaccines that are typically administered to young children and infants, these are things like measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines, do you think that these are generally safe and effective?
No.
Okay. And do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
No.
Okay, great. So you said that MAGA's not anti-science. Would you say, and would
Well,
you
I
say
didn't
that
say
it's
that. I just said, like, why do you say it's anti-science? What does it have to do with science? Are you talking about
well?
like
I mean,
medicine?
so what I'm just talking about sciences in general, like the sciences in general. It seems like, given the policy decision, the policies. I don't know why I can't talk. The policy decisions and the political actions of Trump and the Trump administration, and given the attitude of Trump's voting base towards scientists and scientific consensus, it seems pretty evident to me that MAGA as an ideology is anti-science. It's an anti-scientific ideology. Now, do you disagree with those ideas? Do you think that that's not actually true?
Well, you said attitude specifically, so you're
Mhm.
going based off just how he communicated it.
No, so I was
What about
talking
the
about the
attitude?
attitudes of the MAGA base. So like the views and beliefs of the people who voted for Trump.
So why didn't you just say views and beliefs? Why'd you have to say attitude?
Attitude is a word that describes both of those things.
I thought attitude meant your attitude, like the way you speak.
No.
That's weird. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay.
See, because y'all, you guys just use words sometimes that just confuse me. So I just had to make sure I understand your point. You see what I mean? Like,
That's fine. So look, so it seems pretty clear to me that like the MAGA voting base, it doesn't trust science, doesn't believe scientific consensus, isn't interested in funding science. And the Trump administration is actively defunding science, defunding our major scientific institutions.
Yeah, because
and that
maybe
just
in the state
like
of the world right now, science isn't the major priority. I mean, we're literally risking world wars and all this crazy. Why do we have to put science first?
we don't. Why do we have to put it last?
I don't think that. I mean,
if you look at the proposed budget cuts,
he could be putting it last. You might be right. But
look, it just seems like it seems like awfully coincidental that if you look at the proposed budget cuts that Trump put forward, what you'll find is that across the board, the research, like the scientific research parts of our federal institutions, have had their budgets slashed. Like the scientific division of NASA had its budget. The proposal for the budget is cut in half.
oh yeah, I know that.
The National Science Foundation had its budget cut in half. The CDC and the NIH both had their budgets slashed by like 30 and 70%, respectively.
Okay, and why?
And like these are like our core scientific institutions, and it's not like he's trying to reduce the deficit because the budget went up. The total budget increased.
So why do you think? What do you think their main intention is with that?
He just doesn't care about science, and he's like, yeah, we can win some points by cutting some things because science isn't valuable and we don't care about it.
So why do you think that it would be a good idea for him to value it and actually fund it more?
Well, that's not really relevant. I mean, like, I think that science is valuable, but the question is not why you shouldn't be anti-science. The point is that MAGA is anti-science. Now, maybe there's a good reason to be maybe he thinks he has a good reason to be anti-science, or maybe you should be pro-science. But the point is that it's just like the evidence is there that he is anti-science.
You know, I don't think that we should apply the title anti-science to the president of the United States, because even if he is defunding the science, NASA and whatever, it could be because there's more important things to focus on, not that he literally disagrees with the study of science.
I mean, in 2016, or maybe it was 2015, he said that climate change was a hoax. So
it could be. I mean,
you said,
wait,
no, it couldn't be. It's not.
Yes, I did say that humans are the main contributor to...
Right, you agreed with me on this already. You don't get to go back and now say, oh, well, Trump could have been right when he said that climate change was a hoax. Like, come on.
Well, I can say whatever I want.
I mean, you can. You'll just look dumb.
Tell me what I can and cannot say. I'll say whatever I want.
You're right. You can say whatever you want. You just might look dumb if you contradict yourself.
Well, I mean, at least I don't wear glasses and look like Harry Potter.
Thank you. Daniel Radcliffe made like $100 million as a, like, if you're telling me I look like Daniel Radcliffe, like, I'm good. I'm happy to look like Daniel Radcliffe. All right, let's bring up traditional conservative. Traditional conservative, how's it going?
It's going good. Mr. Samuel Blitz, how's the day?
That's weird. Let's talk to Ken. Ken, how's it going? Ken, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Hello?
Hi, glad you can hear me.
God.
Are you MAGA?
Yes.
Okay. And sorry, I'm just taking some data, if that's okay. Do you mind if I ask you 3 questions just so I can get some data from you?
For sure.
Sure. So do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
No.
Okay. Do you think that the typical vaccines that we used to offer, or that we still offer rather, to infants and children, young children, are generally safe and effective?
Um,
I'm talking about like MMR, pertussis.
I think something can be effective and unnecessary at the same time. Can I say it like that? So, is it effective? Yes. Is it necessary?
Is it safe?
Probably not. Is it necessary?
That wasn't my question. Is it safe?
I would say no. well, it comes with risks. So that's safe. Safe is objective, right?
I don't know what you mean by that. Is it like we can say that like
Well,
Advil is safe
well,
even
well,
though
if I
Advil
give
comes with risks, right?
right, right. So it might be safe to one person and not safe to another. So
is it generally
runs
safe
a
and
high
effective?
risk, well, it's unnecessary. The risk is unnecessary.
That's not my question. My question is it generally safe and effective? Maybe it's unnecessary.
It's an unnecessary
Advil
risk,
is sometimes unnecessary. That doesn't mean Advil is not generally safe and effective.
It is mostly safe, but would you agree that if the risk is
that's
not
fine.
necessary?
That's not my question. I'm just collecting 3 points of data.
So,
and do you
but
think
is
that humans
the risk
evolved from
necessary?
non-human
Okay.
ancestors?
No.
Okay. Will, I appreciate you trying to use a different voice, but try again. MTYQ, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. I'm hanging out in the wonderful, humid environment in here in the sauna.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you. Would you say that you're MAGA?
No, I wouldn't define myself. I think that most people would probably think that I'm MAGA, though, based on some of my viewpoints.
Okay, so just so I can, because I have a classification scheme that I'm using. So, did you vote for Trump?
No, absolutely not.
Would you vote for Trump again if he could run?
Oh, no, never. No.
Okay. Do you support his actions?
Some of them every once in a while, like I support ICE, for example, but I think that the amount of deportations that he's doing are probably basically insignificant when you're talking about pretty much 55 million legal visa holders and then probably upwards of 50 million illegal immigrants being here. So it's a solution that's pretty much too little too late.
All right. And so you would say that you're not MAGA. Just a quick question. I just need 3 pieces of data, 3 questions.
Sure.
One, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
So that's actually an interesting question. So the humans have had an impact, but we do ice core samples. We've been doing that for quite a bit. And so we can actually look all the way back.
I just want to get your view here, just so then I can get the data and then we can talk.
Partially, yeah. But
so
the
you would say
explanation
that
is
humans are the main cause or not the main cause?
Partially, yeah. We've had many different periods of climate change.
I'm talking about the current climate change, right?
Yeah, well, that's also, we live on a planet, so it's not just humans that are
I think that's a no. You don't think that humans are the main cause. Do you think that the vaccines we administer to...
answer.
What?
So that's why it's a nuanced answer. It sounds like you're not really a science man.
Would you say that humans are the cause of, say, 70% or more of the current climate change that we're experiencing?
I could probably go 50-50 at the very minimum, but it's we don't actually even the best data we have on it.
We could talk about that, but I'm just trying to collect the data and then we can talk. Okay.
Okay.
It's just think of it as like a survey, a quick survey, and then we can talk about it. But just so then I can get it out of the way. Do you think that the vaccines that we typically administer to children, things like measles, mumps, rubella, pertussis, do you think that these are generally safe and effective?
Generally safe and effective, but sort of illogical to administer from an individual perspective. Like if you ever have kids,
do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, great. Now the prompt here is MAGA's anti-science. So, do you disagree with the prompt?
Yeah, I would disagree with the prompt. I think depends on your point of view, like what science you're qualifying. So, if your science is, MAGA don't like climate change. Oh no, I don't even understand most of the science behind it myself. But they don't like the thing that I heard on CNN. Then you might come up with that conclusion. But I mean, most of the there's plenty of STEM field individuals I've met that have been big supporters of Donald Trump, a lot of business owners, things like that work in the science industries. And a lot of the people that I speak with on a day-to-day basis. Well, say what? Good.
Would you say that like MAGA?
Depends what kind of science you're talking about. I mean,
generally,
you're talking about.
I'm talking about
mechanical engineering.
Like kind of like the whole collection of sciences, and engineering is not a science, by the way.
It is a science.
It's a separate thing, right?
Physics. Yeah.
Physics is a science. Engineering is not physics.
Yeah. It's related to.
I mean, yeah, and like biology is related to physics too, but they're not the same thing, right? Yeah. But right, so my question is like, look, if we take a look at the sciences, like maybe you consider mathematics a science. Some people do, some people don't. Physics, chemistry, biology, neurology, medicine, geology, these kinds of things. Do you think that MAGA is generally pro-science, anti-science, or somewhat neutral?
I think it's probably just the same amount of people that are interested on both sides of the equation. I think that people cherry pick a lot of examples.
Statistically untrue. I mean,
would you be surprised how was the statistic measured? You know, there's a great quote by, let's see, oh God, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Mark Twain. Mark Twain. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's lies, damn lies, and there's statistics.
Yeah.
So do you? How is it? You know, where are you pulling that data from?
So this is from Nature Communications.
And then do they have you read the white paper on exactly how they administered that and then collected that data?
What demographics? You can if you want. You can if you want.
Yeah, that's right.
You absolutely can.
Those are statistical models that actually make sense.
So
yeah, but just quoting a headline in an abstract. I'm not quoting a headline.
I'm not quoting a headline. Yeah. But I can give you study after study after study showing that MAGA in particular and conservatives in general are less likely to accept scientific consensus.
Well, how about what do you think about the heritability of intelligence?
I think that's probably, I mean, of course, there's probably some heritability of intelligence. But intelligence is a pretty poorly understood thing in general, so.
Not really, no. It's pretty well understood at this point. I mean, what do you think about
it's like super well known to be highly multi-factor. Is that the phrase?
Have you ever heard of the Minnesota twin studies?
Sorry, one more time?
Well, first, I guess I'll preface with saying, are you a nature versus nurture type of guy?
What
do you think matters more,
nature or nurture? I think both things are relevant for most human features.
Absolutely not. Not as far as intelligence, no. Actually, some of the largest studies we've ever done on that particular subject, we've done the. Oh, well, that's why I asked you about the Minnesota Twins Institute. Have you ever heard of them?
The Minnesota Twin Institute? I've never heard of the Minnesota Twin Institute.
Oh, they do some really interesting testing. So this would actually be something science related for you there.
Yeah. So
this is the type of science you probably have an objection with, is my point. So it depends. Are liberals incapable of accepting science?
MTYQ. The question is there a scientific consensus on something, and does MAGA agree with it? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that most people at MAGA agree with the force of gravity.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So there's a scientific consensus that they agree with. Yeah, there you go.
So do you think, and this is not going to feel good for you, who do you think is more likely to reject the existence of gravity? People who are politically aligned with MAGA, or people who are politically aligned with, the left?
Yeah, I'd probably say that the people more with MAGA to some margin.
I mean, that's my point. Like, definitely, look. My point is that there are some most MAGA people will believe in gravity. But if you look at the people who don't believe in gravity, they are overwhelmingly MAGA. So if you ask any scientific question, and you look at the group of people
I don't think it's overwhelming by any stretch of the imagination.
I've talked with so many people who don't believe in gravity.
I've met a lot of flat earthers that are hippy-dippy weirdos that think about the centrifugal force holding us all to the disk of the Earth.
I've met exactly one flat earther who's not far right-wing.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've met quite a few, unfortunately. Yeah, me too.
They're in the comments. Anyway, my point is I suspect that if you take any scientific claim and you look at the number of people who agree with it, and then you divide them by and the number of people who disagree with it, I suspect that the number of people who disagree with the scientific consensus are going to be more likely to be conservative or right-leaning. Now, I have evidence that that's the case for some major topics like climate change, like vaccines, like evolution, like the age of the Earth, like the neuroscience of gender. I have evidence about all of these things, about even life conception, actually. Yep, the neuroscience of gender. I have evidence for all of these things. Now, obviously, I don't have evidence for every single scientific claim.
What's specifically made by the neuroscience of gender?
Yeah. We could talk about that, but I could, for example, read you the definition of sex and the definition of gender as given by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. I could give you various studies that describe a relevant distinction between categorical sex and categorical gender in the neurophysiology of the brain. I could give you a poll showing that biologists generally agree sex is a spectrum. I can show you a journal article
well,
suggesting
you hear
that
that, but
neuroscience is at least this was an official statement by the Journal of Neuroscience, which now recommends accounting for both
Sorry, I
sex
didn't
and
mean to
gender.
interrupt you there.
So I can give you a lot. If you're interested in any particular thing, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm actually most interested in talking about the subject you seem most uncomfortable with, which is the heritability of intelligence.
No,
that really adds a lot
I
of
just don't know a lot
interesting
about it.
criticism to the world here.
I just don't know a lot about it. That's all.
Oh yeah, well I can tell you a whole bunch about it. Actually,
Yeah,
the
so-
Minnesota Twins Institute, that's actually one of the more interesting ones. You know, they took,
MTYQ. So
they did longitudinal studies of
MTYQ.
5,000 participants. They would take
So
the
I'm just going to make
twins
a request.
themselves, and
So
then they would measure.
MTYQ.
They had to be identical twins, and then they would
MTYQ.
put them into
Just a quick
divided
request.
households.
So
And then
if there's a thing
they would
I'm
put
not-
them one in
MTYQ.
like a socioeconomically advantageous house, which you would say
MTYQ, can you?
nurture.
I have a question.
And
I have
then
a very
put another
important
one
question, which is relevant,
into-
and
oh,
it makes
good.
the thing
Yeah,
that you're
sorry.
talking about irrelevant. It's a very
Yeah, after I
important
got that
question.
phone call, you're kind of quiet now for some reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm not super well read on the heritability of intelligence. Are there any meta studies
Oh,
that
yeah.
do a collective analysis of all of these studies that you're talking about that you can point me to?
Oh, there's tons. I mean,
Is there
it's
one
literally,
in
it's actually kind of
particular,
one of those
like
interesting.
like a recent meta study? Or
Well, you can actually
meta-analysis?
go to the Minnesota Twins Institute website and actually look at every single one of these studies that they do. They do these for
MTYQ,
like
that's
the
not answering what I
heritability
asked
of certain
for.
types of.
That's not what I asked for.
What do you mean?
I'm asking for a meta-analysis that summarizes it does a reanalysis of a many
Oh,
past
just
studies
go to
give me
Google
a good
Scholar
overview.
and then go ahead and type in heritability of intelligence.
Okay.
You'll find copious data.
So
Yeah,
is
we
the-
actually
well, no, no,
identified
so
various
I'm looking.
genes.
I'm looking for a meta-analysis, right? That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
And do you have one?
I
Do you
can't
have one in
think of
particular?
a good one off the top of my head, but like I said, I pointed you in the right direction for where you can obtain one. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've been studying intelligence basically. It's one of the longest things we've done psychometrically. It's the most reliable psychometric test that we have available. And it also correlates to pretty much every facet of your life as far as your success in life or various choices that you'll make. So it seems fairly reliable. It's correlative, of course, but then we also have, the same sort of evidence that we'll get from, let's say if you have a
So I just found a
120 IQ
meta-analysis.
person and a 100 person, you'll end up with like 110 children on average.
So I just found a meta-analysis that uses, I guess, 16 different studies, and they're examining the heritability of intelligence. They examined whether the heritability of intelligence varies across racial or ethnic groups. They're testing the hypothesis that predicts that an interaction.
Well, no,
those,
heritability doesn't vary
Please,
across the
MTYQ.
racial groups, but the intellect
MTYQ.
varies
I was
across
asking a question. I was just reading.
Good.
They tested the hypothesis predicting an interaction whereby those racial and ethnic groups living in relatively disadvantaged environments display lower heritability and higher environmentality. The reason behind this prediction is that people or groups of people raised in poor environments may not be able to realize their full genetic potentials. Our sample, they talk about how enormous their sample size was. And then they say, we found that white, black, and Hispanic heritabilities were consistently moderate to high, and that these heritabilities did not differ across groups. At least in the United States, race and ethnicity and heritability interactions likely do not exist.
Yep. So that would basically be that heritability is, heritability interactions, though they do exist. That,
Well, no, they
but the
found that they don't
heritability, they're
exist.
saying that they're saying in effect, what you just read is that depending on environment the environment doesn't determine the outcome of the heritability of the genetics.
No, they're saying that race and ethnicity didn't do that.
Yeah, but they're
They didn't
also
say
put an
environment.
environmental condition in that.
No, they
And they
didn't say
tested
that.
these groups individually. Read it again there. Read the first beginning of the I think the second paragraph.
So they were testing a hypothesis predicting an interaction whereby those racial and ethnic groups living in relatively disadvantaged environments display lower heritability and higher environmentality. And one of the
That's the
conclusions
hypothesis that in a different
right. So
that's
that's
specifically an
hypothesis.
environmental
And
hypothesis.
they found that no, it doesn't. That the hypothesis was wrong.
Yes, it doesn't. Your environment does not determine your heritability of genes. Yes.
No,
that's correct.
the hypothesis is that racial and ethnic groups that are living in relatively disadvantaged environments display lower heritability.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not correct. Yeah. So the
And higher environmentality.
heritability.
That's just incorrect.
Yeah. So
Apparently, at
that's
least according
still
to this meta-analysis. This meta-analysis, though, it doesn't seem like it actually investigated the heritability. I mean, so they said that heritabilities were consistently moderate to high. So,
well, it's because we
can
already
go
kind
and
of,
look at
it's
that
like
if you
saying
wanted
like
to.
gravity, for example. Yeah, we've already kind of fundamentally understood that intelligence is heritable. So just moving on from that, testing different hypotheses.
I don't think anybody's going to disagree that intelligence does not at least have a big chunk of it is heritable. Like, I think that's pretty well accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I said that the science is kind of, when you were talking about, who accepts what science or what, what criteria to put on it.
I don't know anybody who disagrees with that.
Oh,
Like,
a lot of people
obviously
actually
there are
argue
environmental
against that,
parts,
and they
but
argue for more funding for schools or different type of programs, because they'll say that, okay, if we can just throw money at the problem, which is very wasteful, then you somehow can turn a tree into a working, scientist or something like that.
Turn a tree? What?
Yeah, well, the whole idea of nature versus nurture, that's a metaphor. You might not be.
Oh, okay.
So might have
and just to be clear, MTYQ, and I'm just curious because the people in the comments are curious. Why is this the thing that you're particularly interested in?
Oh, that's actually what I just said. Is that so? Your statement is MAGA rejects, or right wing, more specifically, is what you clarified later, rejects science. On a greater scale. And I'm saying that the fundamental preposition is that what is the science, and then if I can demonstrate the entire category of science that most people have, especially the left, have a huge issue with when it comes to the issues like immigration or racial segregation and things like that.
Wait, what does that have to do with science?
You would probably. Oh, what is racial segregation, or
what does racial segregation have to do with science?
Well, then you'd have to look at a lot of the data. You'd say, okay,
what science does racial segregation fall into?
Sociology. It's a soft science, I'd say.
So do you consider sociology a science?
I would say it's soft science, yes. It uses the scientific method, at least. It's not, I wouldn't consider psychology
would you say that generally sociologists, like the scientific consensus among sociologists, is that racial segregation is a good thing?
I think the consensus would probably be no, but it would probably be from basically deluding themselves that following the data that they're looking at.
Now, are you a sociologist?
That may be the case.
Be honest.
Remember, I'm excuse me.
Be honest.
I'll just say I have several degrees. That's
are any of them in sociology?
Maybe.
That sounds like a no.
The piece of paper that you get at the end of the day when you graduate is just a proof that you've gone through a certain process. It's not necessarily the end all be all of all of the education that you're ever going to receive, or your ability to articulate thought or abstract meaning.
Really cagey.
Different doctrines. That's not
Do you
cagey.
have a degree in sociology? Like, I'll tell you what I have my degrees in if you tell me what you have your degrees in.
Oh, I'm sure. But it's a little bit more interesting when you're espousing certain opinions. I'll just put it that way.
Well, no, I mean, the point is that
at the end of the day, you're just making it's a what you would call a logical fallacy either way.
No, this actually isn't an ad hominem. So the reason why it's relevant is because the way that I establish whether somebody is adequately prepared, at least a fairly good way to infer that somebody is adequately prepared to combat the scientific consensus, to be able to reasonably disagree with the scientific consensus, is if they have the relevant expertise. And one of the ways to check if somebody has the relevant expertise to understand the entirety of the literature is by whether or not they have a degree or an advanced degree in the field. So if you don't have that, then I just don't really have a good reason to believe your view over the scientific consensus of the people who do have that advanced degree.
So that would definitely be a logical fallacy. Yeah, that would be
what you would call
it's
an inference.
An appeal to authority fallacy.
Nope, not an appeal to authority. It's an appeal to expertise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So you're basically saying the priests up here that I can prove are part of the holy and sacred order can dispute what you've said. And even if you make a good argument, you provide data, that data is irrelevant because, oh my God, that guy, he told me he's from up there.
MTYQ, can you, so look, how familiar are you with epistemology?
Epistemology?
Epistemology.
Oh, no.
Okay, so epistemology is a branch of philosophy. Oh, did you disconnect? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, Andy disconnected. That wasn't me. My hands were down here the whole time. Yeah, so I'll just make the point in case he's still listening. So so epistemology is the branch of philosophy that studies how we know what we know, or how we come to believe things. And so one good method of doing, or one good, let me back up. we might say that a good epistemology is an epistemology that leads you to come to correct conclusions most of the time. Now, an example of a good epistemology would be to believe people who have expertise in a field more than you believe people who don't have expertise in a field. So the reason I say that is because if you take, or say, I should say, believe the consensus of people who have expertise in a field. The reason I say that is because it's just a probability game, right? If you ask 100 particle physicists, I don't know, whether there's a black hole at the center of the supernova, or if you ask 100 cosmologists whether there's or astrophysicists whether there's a black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and then you ask a single random person who has claimed to have read all the studies, the people who are more likely to be right are the astrophysicists. Even if the person who claims to have read the studies says, oh yeah, I understood them and here's a logical argument, just based off of knowing nothing else besides who the people are that are making the claims, the people who studied it their entire lives, the large collection of them, are just more likely to be right about this, right? Because you have a larger group of people who have spent more time studying and reading the literature. It's very plausible that a random person might think that they understood the data, whereas they misunderstood it. That's less likely for the experts. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the astrophysicist or the sociologist or whatever can't be wrong. What I'm saying is that if you're going to make a bet, you should bet with the expert consensus every time, unless you yourself are an expert. If you yourself are an expert, feel free to disagree, because then you at least have the background that you can leverage to understand the data and understand the analyses that are doing and critique them. All right, let's talk to Carlos. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear he just wanted to do like race science, but you know, Carlos, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? Love your
Or is
show.
it Carlos?
Yeah, Carlos. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're MAGA?
In no way, shape, or form.
Did you vote for Trump?
I did not.
Well, it does say MAGA is anti-science. And I'm really only interested in people who actually are MAGA, interested in talking to people who actually are MAGA. So I'm gonna let you go.
I just have I do have a complaint about your topic here.
Well, that sounds like tone policing, which I also don't want. Yeah, he wanted to do race science. Yeah, put giant big air quotes around it. Oh, debater's actually legit. Debater, I'll bring you up next. Sorry. Robert, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. How are you doing, Dr. Blitz?
I'm doing all right. Are you MAGA?
I am.
Okay, great. Do you mind if I ask you just a few questions? I'm collecting data on people I talk to, not like personal data, but just so I can get your views, and then we can go into the deep, or go into depth and talk about nuance and stuff. Sure. So first, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change, say 70% or more?
No.
Okay. Do you think that the vaccines that we typically administer to young children and infants, think like the MMR vaccine, the pertussis vaccine, do you think that these are generally safe and effective?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
Yes.
Okay, great. Right, now you said you're MAGA. Would you say that MAGA is anti-science, neutral, or pro-science?
Gosh, I think that we're pro-science, but I think that there's just certain aspects of science that we may disagree with, such as the climate change, the COVID vaccine, and maybe that sex is a spectrum, if you will.
So when you say disagree with science, what do you mean?
Well, like the CO2 level is caused by, it's man-made. We all know the CO2 levels have been, or climate change and CO2 have been higher, significantly higher in the past than what they are now. So therefore there seem to be a force that has caused that to change. So how do we know that that's not what's most of the change that's going on today? I'm not saying man hasn't had maybe perhaps an impact, but how do we know it's not the main cause?
So it's a good question. Do you think that that's been studied by climatologists?
It has been, and I absolutely will admit that, but if it's changed in the past 100% and man had nothing to do with it, so if there's a change today, how do we know that that's not 99% going to happen anyways, but we're 100% responsible for that 1%, as an example?
Well, so, I mean, you can do an analysis, right? You can do it's called an information transfer analysis, where basically you look at it's hard to explain, but this is one way that you can analyze cause, right? You can basically examine time series data and look for the rate of change of one piece of time series and how much it predicts the rate of change of a different time series. This is, for example, one way that you can do this. But to be clear, you understand that climate scientists agree that humans are the cause of the increased CO2 levels. And it's not just climate scientists, like also physicists and stuff, but climate scientists are the relevant people here, right? So why do you think that they all agree on this, like overwhelmingly agree on this, but you think that they haven't considered the possibility that they're wrong?
You know, that actually is a good thought-provoking question. And here's one thing I'm going to say, that do you think, and I'm going to ask you because of your position and your expertise, if you're asked to be part of a study or to lead a study and it's from a certain organization, do you think that there's pressure or that you need to come up with a certain solution and maybe that the data might be changed? And so therefore there may be some untrust maybe with MAGA or others on those that do the studies.
So this is just a fundamental misunderstanding of how scientific studies are conducted. They're not, you don't have some organization, at least this rarely happens, right? I'm sure that this has happened in the past sometimes, but it rarely is the case that you have an organization approach somebody, say, hey, can you do a study for X, Y, and Z? Usually you have some scientist working at a university or some national laboratory or something, and they're like, huh, that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting thought that I just had. I'm going to see if I could do science to it. And then they do science to it. And that's usually how it works, right? You're getting kind of like the order wrong. But keep in mind, the question itself implies that you have people who are fabricating data or fabricating evidence. And that seems like crazy to me, that you think that this is like a widespread problem amongst climate scientists.
Well, I didn't say it was widespread. I just asked if that is perhaps part of it, so that way, hey, look, I want to get this grant for $750,000 or whatever. Then I'm just making that number up as an example, and based on my beliefs, so maybe it gets skewed towards that. And maybe I'll get asked to do another study or something.
When you apply for a grant, you don't know what the outcome of your study will be yet. So how could you end up fabricating data? How could fabricating data be relevant here when you apply for a grant not knowing what the outcome will be? The grant is given to you before they know what the outcome is.
Fair enough, but if I know who the grant is coming from, if I'm getting a grant from an oil company and they want me to study the effects of something, then I'm going to think that they're going to want the results to be pro-oil, and then maybe they'll ask me to do a similar grant after that.
Do you think that this is like actually a problem, like actually a thing that happens to some large degree?
Like it's 99% that it's happening all the time.
Because it's like 95% plus of climate scientists who agree with this, who agree that we are obviously causing the CO2 levels to rise, and that is obviously causing the climate to change in significant ways.
Fair enough.
So just kind of more broadly, what do you think that drives? You said that you don't think that they're anti-science because there's some scientific things that they disagree with, but it just sounds like they're only pro-science when the science agrees with their political ideology. They're not actually motivated to agree with what the scientific consensus is. They're just like, if it happens to be that a scientific consensus agrees with their political ideology, then they say, oh yeah, great, we have science. And if it doesn't, they just reject it. That sounds pretty anti-science to me.
Gosh, you state it like that so logically, and do you think that it's on both sides though? Is that a fair question?
Maybe. So what is the case is that if you take polling data, liberals are more likely to trust scientists just over by a huge number, right? So I suspect that if it is an issue on the left, it is significantly less likely because liberals are just more likely to believe what a scientist says is true.
Fair enough. And that's, I will say, Dr. Blitz, that is part of the reason why I do listen.
I appreciate that.
I am pro MAGA, and I'm not quite sure about Robert Kennedy and the vaccine push or where he's going with that. That's I think I don't think I'm overly happy with some of those things, but definitely MAGA. And the science piece, there's just some aspects of it that just like I'll ask you a question about the COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was pushed on us without a lot of testing. You had a lot of politicians that were out there saying, get
like
this
Trump.
vaccine. I have to admit, Trump was part of it, right?
He was the guy who did it, right? He was the guy.
I'm right with you on that. I readily admit that. I see you smiling on the camera. I'm smiling on that one too.
But I mean, more than that, like, I think it is like if you look across the medical literature, what we find is that it is safer to get the vaccine than it is to get COVID. Just in terms of like potential long-term side effects. And the COVID vaccine does reduce the risk of clinically significant disease, and it reduces the risk of hospitalization. Those are both things that, you know, are good. It's good if you hospitalize less people. It's good if you have less clinically significant disease. And yes, there's risk with any sort of thing that you put in your body, vaccines included, but the risks are significantly smaller than the risks of actually getting COVID I think in every single population group. So people talk like it was all lies and it was super unsafe and that nobody needed it. Like, just not the case.
Right. I agree with you on that. No disagreement.
All right. Well, Robert,
Dr. Blitz, thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation and enjoy your videos and your lives.
I appreciate you, Robert. Thanks for being here.
Have a good day.
All right. Let's bring up Debater. Debater, how's it going?
Hey, Dr. Blitz, how's the day going?
I'm doing okay. Are you MAGA?
Yes, sir.
Do you live in the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I did ask because I just generally don't care about talking to people who are like not living in the United States.
I am an immigrant. An immigrant.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So you're MAGA.
Yes, sir.
Is there a name I should call you, or should I just call you Debater?
Yes, sir. Debater.
Okay. And you said you're MAGA. Now I have 3 questions to ask you. First, do you think that humans are the main cause of climate change?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think that the vaccines that are typically administered to children, like the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, do you think that these are generally safe and effective?
Yes, sir. Generally.
Okay. And do you think that humans evolved from non-human ancestors?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And you said that you're MAGA. Do you think that MAGA is pro-science, anti-science, or somewhere in between?
It's definitely, somewhere in between, because I want to tell you that I'm an atheist, sir. But
Okay.
I am a MAGA because, they are doing good for the economy. They want manufacturing back. They want the services back in the country,
So, Debater,
in
just
the
to be
United
clear,
States.
this seems like it's not related to whether or not it's pro or anti-science. Are you familiar with can you give me an example of like the Trump administration, the current Trump administration, doing something that's good for, the scientific community or good for the scientific institutions?
All I can say is the more the money the country have, the richer the country is, the more intelligentsia from all over the world will flock to that country. The best brains will come to that country. All I can say is that thing.
But that's not happening. In fact, what we are seeing is an outflow of scientists from the United States because the Trump administration has been so hostile to science.
I'm sorry, sir, but the United States is still number one.
No, but we're seeing scientists leave. We're seeing scientists leave to Europe and scientists leave to China. This is like a new phenomenon. The number of applications of American scientists or the number of American scientists who are applying for jobs in Europe and in China has gone up by like 40% in the last 8 months.
So what do you want? You want climate change to be the main topic of discussion and all
Nope.
our industries shifted to China,
Nope,
to
didn't say that
Middle
at
East,
all.
to
I didn't
other
say
countries to
any of
make us
that.
poorer?
I didn't say any of that.
In poverty, science will
Debater.
never exist.
Debater, if Trump was so interested in bringing brains to the United States, why is it that he's cutting NASA's science directorate, he's cutting the National Science Foundation, he's cutting the budget of the CDC and the NIH, both of which are huge scientific institutions? If they were
I can say
pro-science, why
for
are they cutting
NASA
these budgets?
because we are not in the Cold War with the USSR. That's why he's cutting it, because we are already having a lot of national debt. And there's no reason to.
But debater, he's not cutting the entire NASA budget. He's only cutting the science directorate. The exploration part of the NASA budget is going up. Why is he cutting the science directorate?
Yep, I mean, already there are a lot of in the bureaucracy which sucks up the entire money, and the real scientists, they get peanuts.
Do you have evidence of
So
this?
that's the reason.
Do you have evidence of this?
For example, the chancellors in universities, chancellors, pro-vice chancellors.
We were talking about NASA. Do you have evidence of this in NASA?
Yes, I mean
where's the evidence for
uppermost layer. Well, I can't give you the evidence, but the thing is, the more bureaucracy. No, sir, I don't have the evidence of NASA.
So why is it that Trump's
let's talk about universities.
Sorry, we were talking about the proposed budget cuts. So Trump doesn't control the budget of universities. He does control the budget, or at least his administration does, controls the budget of the
No, he cut the budget of the Harvard University as well.
So debater,
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with like the space telescopes that we have in orbit around the Earth, like the Hubble Space Telescope, those kinds of things? Are you familiar with these?
Sir.
So there's another telescope that currently exists. It's called the Chandra X-ray Observatory. It's been up there since the late 90s. It is the highest resolution X-ray telescope in existence. There's not a single X-ray telescope that's better than it. Even though it's 25 years old, it's still been producing good science for the last 25 years. It's the best telescope for this type of astronomy. It's really cool. And it's American. It's American made, right? Now, why is it, and it's still functional, keep in mind, why is it that Trump's proposed budget just shuts the whole thing down, kills the entire project?
Maybe because it's, I don't know, unrelated to the benefit or something like that. Or maybe he's having the big beautiful bill, so to shift that money which he proposed to the big beautiful bill, he's cutting the cost of NASA.
Maybe, yeah, but the point is this has nothing to do with bureaucracy. He's just killing a functional telescope, right? This is not a bureaucracy issue. This is a functional telescope that's producing good science. He's just like, nah, we're killing it. Discontinued.
Didn't the NASA kill the Apollo space program? We are unable to send another man on the moon again. Isn't that killing as well? It happened during the time of the liberal Democrats.
You mean 50 years ago in 1972?
Yeah, we have lost that technology to go back to the moon.
I'm not here to defend politicians from 50 years ago.
Okay.
So why is Trump cutting a perfectly functional, perfectly working, good telescope if it was about bureaucracy?
Probably the results might be getting same day, but the results might not be as good.
There was a new paper that came out like 3 months ago using novel data from that telescope. People still fight for time on the telescope.
Oh. Then I'm afraid that he might be anti-science. But science is more like related to the scientists. The politicians focus on the economic development. And
politicians
all I can say is
the scientific institutions in the United States.
All I can say is I'm an immigrant myself. All I can say is from my point of view, America right now is #1 in science. All because it is having money. The best brains come here, earn the most. Trust me, sir. Trust me.
Look, as a scientist, why do you think the the scientists came from all over the world to the United States? Why do you think that that was a thing in the past?
Bigger salaries and good way of life.
Yep.
And
yeah. Bigger
Protestant
salaries.
way
You're
of
right.
living.
Where do those salaries
Industrial.
come from? Where do those salaries come from?
From the mass production of the industries.
Most of
the
them come
mass
from
industrial
public.
revolution.
Most of them come from public institutions. Most of the scientific grants come from the United States government or from the salaries of the universities that they work at. Most do not come from private industry.
Since the World War II, the industrial might this country, United States, had, no other country have it. And because of that, the citizens are rich.
That's not why the
filthy
scientists
rich,
come here.
and it attract every intelligentsia in this country. And not only that, I mean, you can see most of the universities, top 100, are of United States.
Yeah, they are. That's exactly why. That's exactly right. And the reason why they're the top 100 is because we funded them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we put a lot of money into the scientific community, into the academic community. That's why. And that's going away.
Yeah.
Our universities are shrinking. Our departments are shrinking. We're not hiring new faculty anymore because universities are afraid that their funding's going to get cut and they won't be able to afford it.
Oh, sorry to hear about it. But you know, I've heard that the DEI is killing the universities.
Nope,
I mean,
universities
in
were doing
general.
fine. Actually, like the universities
The
were like
DEI hires the students
universities
based on
were
the diversity.
thriving last year.
Okay. But regarding science, liberals say that they just feel whatever they feel, and they say that I will never ever trust the liberal thing that vegan diet is much more better than meat diet, right? I can give you 100 sources.
What does this have to do with MAGA being anti-science? Sorry.
I mean, the thing is, scientific consensus is not always right?
Okay,
I mean, it's common sense.
You're right. Is it?
Meat.
So, question, debater. What is more likely to be true? The scientific consensus or some random guy who's not a scientist?
Scientific consensus.
Right.
But
so
also common sense as well.
So if you're not an expert, your best bet, if you were to put money on it, your best bet is to just believe what the scientists tell you. You'll be right most of the time.
Yeah, so there's probably having a research paper saying that soy is better for me, and I start eating it instead of meat. I'm gonna get gynecomastia, right?
No, that's not true.
Won't I?
That's not like a thing that happens to everybody.
I mean, it's a fact. I mean, but there are papers like liberals, whatever they feel,
Debater.
they like, they only
It
justify those scientific
It actually sounds
articles.
like sorry to do this, but it sounds like you're doing no you because, or sorry, I'm going to say no you because if you look at liberals are more likely to trust scientists than conservatives are, than right-wingers are.
Trust scientists.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it has nothing to do with their feelings. It's not just they only believe what agrees with their feelings. They're just more likely to trust what scientists tell them.
Really?
Yep.
Well, science
by like a huge margin too.
Well, science says that more heavy industries are there, much better.
Science says what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Well, I think that liberals only trust those articles which suit their ideology.
That's just not true. Like the data disagrees with you. Liberals are more likely to trust scientists in general, not just the articles that agree with them. In fact, that's a trait of conservatives. Conservatives tend to not be interested in science generally unless they find an article that agrees with them. Liberals, on the other hand, generally tend to be more interested in the sciences. This is why most of the scientists in the United States are liberal.
Oh, I mean, there are a lot of scientists who are either apolitical or probably even right-wing as well. Can't say about it.
Do you want me to pull up data to the data that says otherwise?
Okay, go ahead. Let's see. But please don't see some biased, probably
I'm sure
biased
that it's going to be
website.
biased. So here is this is a study talking about trends in American scientists' political donations and implication for trust in science. So let's just look. Let's read through this, right? Or we don't have to read through the whole thing if you don't want to. So if you look at, I'm looking for the particular piece of data that I'm interested in. That's polarization. This is donations by professor in different subject areas. So in the physical scientists, less than 5% donate to Republicans. Less than 5%
Really?
donate to Republicans, yeah.
So which finding is that which you're reading right
I just
now?
told you what the study is called. It's called Trends in American Scientists' Political Donations and Implications for Trust in Science.
Wow, I never knew about it. But could be that if you probably see some other search result, it might be pro-Trump or maybe or not.
Sorry? What'd you say?
You're probably looking from some website, right?
This is nature.com. This is a scientific journal.
Yeah, yeah, and some probably other journal might say the opposite, right?
No, no, it won't.
Really?
No.
Okay.
And just to be clear, because it wasn't clear what I said, so it's not less than 5% of physical sciences. It's not less than 5% of professors in the physical sciences donate to Republicans, because not a lot of people donate to politicians in general. The fraction of all donations that professors make to political candidates, less than 5% of those people who do make donations are donating to Republicans. The fraction of those who are donating to third parties is similarly low. The vast majority of political donations from, say, professors in the physical sciences, for example, are to Democrats.
Okay, that means that they are really liberal.
Yes.
Never knew about
exactly what I said, that the vast majority of scientists in the, or I said scientists, not professors, but we could check this. But the vast majority, I mean, we could go find more data on this, but the vast majority of scientists are left-leaning. If you want more data on that, we can go find it if you want. This is from 2009.
The thing
it's probably not what.
No problem, sir. I mean, that's enough. But all I can say is, you want citizens to vote for right now Democrats, which is considered liberal in the country. You want
Democrats
citizens to vote for Democrats.
I think
Sir,
that is better than having them vote for Republicans right now. Yes.
Sir, you know the consequences of voting the Democrat. They will drive away every industry, manufacturing industry, to China, Brazil,
so debater,
Middle East.
That's just not true, though. Like, the economy grows more under left-wing politicians than it does under right-wing politicians.
Sir, we'll become poorer. We'll have to depend on manufacturing base.
You've just been lied to. Like, if you go look at GDP growth under left-wing politicians, like Democrats, compared with under right-wing politicians,
Sir,
like Republicans,
they
GDP growth is higher under Democrats.
They overprint the money to
GDP growth has nothing to do with money printing.
Okay.
So, like,
well,
I mean, it's just incorrect. I don't know where you got your information from. I don't know if you've been watching a lot of Fox News, but you're just,
Dwight D.
like,
Eisenhower,
your information is the opposite of correct, right?
You know, Dwight D. Eisenhower was a Republican.
Yeah.
And during his time,
like 70 years ago.
Yeah, America was.
Yeah. So
I mean,
the Republican Party today is not the Republican Party of Eisenhower.
In the world GDP.
So the Republican Party of Eisenhower is not the same as the Republican Party today. So it's an irrelevant comparison.
You think Kamala Harris will, I mean, be good for economical?
Better than Trump is, yeah. I mean, that's just like evidently true. Trump has been like devastating for the economy.
Oh, the thing is, you provide facts. That's truth, and I respect it. But sometimes from inside, I feel that she will say that be vegan, don't have
and who told you that?
Or don't drink whiskey or something
like
that.
Wait, she's not vegan. Why would she tell you to be vegan?
I mean, Democrats, they are liberal. I mean, liberal mainstream. That's like they are
Veganism is
they
not
are
mainstream in the
vegan.
liberal political camp.
Sir, they import people from the third world. I mean,
Debater,
and they.
hold
I mean,
on.
the
I'm
people.
sorry. Debater. Where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
What the fuck are you doing?
I mean, sir, seriously, we are supposed to. I mean, inherit your culture, not the other way around. That's the fact. We are to learn your culture.
You were imported, debater.
Yes, sir. I mean, we are to learn American culture.
Right, wait, hold on. So should you not have been allowed in the country? What?
I mean, I agree with him. I came in legally. I was a student. I came in legally. That's the thing. They want you to. They want hide
Debater,
you.
what city are you from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
No, I mean, what city did you move from in Mexico?
Well, I can't give you my personal information.
You
sir.
just told me what city you currently live in. I don't think dude's from Mexico. I mean, like, it's possible. It's possible he is, but he doesn't sound like he's from Mexico. Yeah, also the Mexican president's based. Look, I don't want to assume people from their accent, but like, I've heard a lot of people from South Asia, and that sounded more like a South Asian accent. Yeah, he was willing to give me the city that he currently lives in, but not willing to give me the city that he moved from. Like, that's a little bit suspicious to me. Yeah, Claudia Scheinbaum. A woman, I think she's Jewish too, isn't she? Isn't Claudia Scheinbaum Jewish? Yeah, a Jewish woman is the president, a Jewish socialist woman is the president of Mexico, and that's mega based. Oh, and she was a scientist. Also she was a scientist. She has a PhD in energy engineering. Well, she's an engineer anyway. Yeah, so she's cool. I actually don't know anything about her policies, but yeah, like, she has the creds. Anyway, currently the guest box is empty. So if anybody disagrees with me, if anybody thinks that, you know, if anybody wants to come up and defend why they think MAGA is pro-science, feel free to do that. In the meantime, I should probably read super chats if there are any. Yeah, so from Devil's PD, I already read that one. From Flash Prez with the $2, Blitz, it's Will again. Yeah, it was Will again. From Neck2 with the $2 says, what's it like living rent-free in Will's head? I actually don't think that's his name, but yeah, it's feels good. And then from Arkham Clown Gaming with the $2, when will we see Dr. Blitz versus Charlie Kirk? Who knows? Maybe soon, maybe never. Just depends on what happens. But yeah. That's all we got today. Let's see. Let me check. Somebody named Mr. Blitz said, change your name, Imposter. Never. I will never do that. I will never change my name. Okay, I don't have any cash apps. Yeah, no, I don't know where all the MAGA went, but normal liberal doesn't know anything about her policies yet loves her. Well, I mean, look, I can check her ideology. Her ideology, it says that she's like left wing. So her political positions will likely agree with mine. She has a lot in common with me. So we likely have similar, not the same, but at least similar views on a lot of these things. So it's likely that her views will overlap significantly with mine. But fair point. I shouldn't say I like her unless I actually have looked at her policies. That's a good point. Let's go look at her policies. Political views. She's a self-described feminist. Cool. Okay. That seems good. She advocates for the legalization of abortion. That seems good. Oh, we have a guest. Hart, how's it going? Hart?
Hi.
Oh, dang it. feel free to come back up, Hart. She's promised to expand welfare under her presidency. Seems good. She has a background in environmental policy. Oh, she won the panel of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a Nobel Peace Prize. She saw a marked reduction in air pollution, created a community ecological reserves. She seems based. Okay, looks like this person's not coming back. We're talking about Claudia Sheinbaum, who's the president of Mexico. Oh, JBC is not here. John, you want to come back? You want to talk again? What else do we have to talk about?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, am I on? Oh, hi. What's up?
You're on.
Hey, no, I literally just clicked on and I saw that you didn't have like a guest, and you said that MAGA people are anti-science, and I guess I have a few questions. Did you see that research I sent about the people divining the future? Like, I've been waiting for you to mention that, and I thought that was
people
crazy.
divining the future? No, I didn't see that.
The meta-analysis? I'm having a hard time digesting it.
Where is it?
Yeah. I sent it a long time ago. I know you saw it. It's like a meta-analysis where I sent a couple different things. I sent the meta-analysis that Chris Fields was referring to, and also the theory from Chris Fields. I probably have heard people cite that meta-analysis about divination or whatever before, and was like, I just went over my head or went through me because I'm like, I don't believe any of that. But Chris Fields basically thinks that there are strange things going on with quantum entanglement that he just thinks are obvious. Everyone in the room that he was explaining to were just like, okay. And I was like, all right, I guess this isn't weird for some people. But so basically,
no, I don't
what
think
the
I
study
did.
is, they've been doing this.
I don't think I did see this.
Doesn't matter. Well, I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can look it up. It's in the Discord. I posted it multiple times. Under the science. But anyways, so there's been about 25 to 30 studies looking into what they do is they have a participant sit down. They show him a picture or her a picture of a like angry face or a smiley face. And the reason why they do this is because emotionally laden faces have a deeper they literally map right onto your spinal cord. Basically, they map right onto your brainstem, so you don't even have to be aware physically consciously of what you're seeing to have a reaction to it. So that's why they use the emotional faces like that.
Sure.
Basically, even though their guesses were completely random, obviously they can't divine the future, you know what I mean, about what they're about to be shown. But what they did find is that if they made a correct guess, they would have a physiological reaction. They would jump up even before the computer made the selection. And basically, this gets into a lot of theories about how we form memories and things like target morphologies, and how that we know that, like, what do you say, that something is right before we know it's right, I guess. I don't know. It was just, I've thought that people could in some sense kind of divine the future just because of just like, well, we have been in the world for, 2 billion years. And obviously there's a lot of statistics built inside of us that will allow us to see things happening in the future. But the idea of entanglement in this whole thing, and even just the idea that probabilities, I'm not really familiar with any of this, but the idea that probabilities are better modeled within quantum mathematics, it makes complete sense. Because I always had a problem, like what's the probability that my manager Tristan is going to be the one at work when I arrive at work today? From my perspective, it's like, I don't know, like 1 in 5. But it's like, no, he's either there or he's not. And it's like, oh, well, that's actually the way quantum probabilities work. And that's
but hold on.
More, yeah.
When we say things like, oh, what's the probability that my manager will be there? What we're really talking about is essentially how much are we willing to bet? Right? How confident are we that he will be there or that he won't be there? Right? This is an epistemological claim, right? This is not like a probabilistic claim about like actuality, right?
Exactly.
But
I'm saying the way we experience probability.
But epistemological claims is entirely consistent with like classical physics, right? Like this kind of probabilistic analysis. It totally works classically.
Yeah.
So I don't see why this requires quantum anything.
I think you're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, I don't think I am.
The point, man. Yeah. No, like the point is just what I just said. Like, it's not about me betting a certain amount of money of like either Tristan is at work today or he's not. You know what I mean? It's not actually like a 1 in 5 chance or whatever.
No, but
if I was omniscient, there's no like probability issues about
what I'm saying is
at work. There's
that's the point.
Probability issue from a perspective observer.
Right, but that has nothing to do with quantum mechanics. That has to do with epistemological uncertainty.
Just disagree. A lot of people disagree, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
you
no,
don't know
I should clarify. Maybe it does have something to do with quantum mechanics. Maybe it does have something to do with quantum mechanics, but you can account for epistemic uncertainty totally well without invoking quantum mechanics.
Okay, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just getting really annoyed because it's like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not trying to imply anything spooky with the stuff that I send in. I'm just trying to like update this group that I feel like is so static and dead. Like, you know, like I left the atheist movement like in 2019. I come back and you guys are still talking about the same things in like even more insane ways. And I'm just like, what is happening here? Like, I don't know. And I'm not like a spooky religious person. I don't believe in like supernatural things really. And it's just like, what are you guys talking about over here? It's just annoying.
I mean, the only criticism I'm making, and I haven't read the thing that you sent me. I didn't even look at it. But the only point that I'm making is that it's the way that we think about probabilities has nothing to do with like, at least not it doesn't evidently have anything to do with like some quantum phenomenon, at least not necessarily. You can totally describe these kinds of like epistemic uncertainty completely classically. Like that's what classical physicists would do. They would say that, you know, we measure X, Y, and Z thing within this degree of uncertainty, because the way that they would measure devices, the way that they would measure, you know, whatever, had uncertainties in it because of, you know, measuring error, systematic error, and so on and so forth. And none of that required quantum physics. Oh, I can't hear you, by the way. Oh, where'd he go? All right, I should hydrate. Anyway, guest box is currently empty. If it stays empty, we might just change topics for like an hour or so. John's back, but we should probably just like, because it's not really on topic. I'll bring him back up, but so it's not really on topic, so I'll probably just change topics just to bring up more guests. But yeah, I mean, like I've actually looked. So just as a one final thing with regards to a lot of like the kind of, I'm not going to say spooky, but like spooky in big air quotes, like spooky things like you know, whatever it's called, seeing into the future, whatever, or any sort of premonition, that kind of thing. Or you know. Distance effects that people might have on things. I'm always just a little bit skeptical of these because they only ever seem to be reproduced by people who are also already in the community. And that's not to say that they're like in the parapsychology community, I should say. And that's not to say that there's a bias there, but like, it's just, I don't know.
I can talk specifically about the meta-analysis. It's very unarguable. I've looked at it, and it's like you'd have to essentially the logic of line I'd have to do to discredit it would be basically I'd have to also be able to dismantle the moon landing, which I'm not going to do. You know what I mean? I have to involve like a conspiracy of scientists working over like 30 years to like compare data and have the exact same things, and then throw out like 200 studies and stuff. It would just be crazy unless you're assuming that they're all just like very very fabricating stuff. But you know.
No,
like,
and by the way, I don't think that people are generally malicious, but I think that generally speaking, it's a lot easier to find a signal in noise that you unconsciously want to see when you're doing a less hard science. That's all.
I agree. That's why I say about climate. But no, but like you can't. I mean, I implore you to look at the study, look at the meta-analysis for yourself. Like I had to. I wouldn't have bought it. You know, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Like, yeah, and I guess. Lastly, I just want to say that I know a lot of people have been like not sure about my interpretation of Michael Levin's and Chris Fields and like Carl Friston's research. Michael Levin happened to post a video today that summarizes a lot of the things that I've been very specifically talking about. And so if you guys don't believe me about the way I'm presenting it, I'm going to post that in the Discord. And I really hope you guys watch it. It's very entertaining. It's very fun to watch. They even talk about that one recent video where that weird wombat thing, you know, falls on its back and it like replays dead and stuff, or like a crab holding a knife. And like, what are all these things? Are these things knowing what they're doing? Interesting questions. It's all fun stuff. But anyways, yeah, this is like the cutting edge, and the most interesting thing happening in science is like in this like kind of sphere of the intersection.
I mean, it's interesting for some people.
Biology obeys the
right?
laws of thermodynamics and physics.
So it's interesting for some people. It's not interesting for other people. But John, yeah, go ahead, post it. This is actually a good segue. If you guys want to join the Discord, and if you're 18 plus, feel free to join the Discord. There's cool stuff, cool discussions that happen there.
Yeah,
it's a good way to get announcements from me.
No one can take me out. It's annoying.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick you out. Okay, yeah. Later, John.
Bye.
Yeah, so I'm gonna change the topic here. Yeah, so there's a Discord server. You guys should join that. Nothing will change on TikTok, but if you're watching on YouTube, you'll have to refresh. You'll go find me again in just a moment.